Don't mess around. It's the middle of the night. It's too cold in the tub. You'll catch a cold. Leo pinched the delicate white foot Lily extended toward him, lifted it, and planted a soft kiss on her instep. I'm pretty much done. I've still got some work to finish up, but I'll come crawling to bed with you when I'm done. Leo stood, dried himself off, and left, leaving Lily alone in the bathtub, staring blankly at his retreating back. Around 2 in the morning, a low rumble of thunder rolled across the sky, and without any warning, a torrential downpour began. The wind whipped sheets of rain against the windows and walls, creating a percussive roar that seemed to swallow the entire world. Already wrestling with his complicated emotions, Leo tossed and turned in his own bed, unable to sleep through the storm's cacophony. Then a soft click. His bedroom door creaked open. A steady set of footsteps approached, and he felt the covers lift. A full, soft body slid into his bed, pressing against his side. The sheer, pillowy weight of her chest spilled over his arm. He didn't even need to guess who it was. He kept his eyes shut, pretending to be asleep. But a second later, his eyes shot open in the darkness. He felt Lily gently pulling down his pajama pants. "I know you're not asleep," she said, her voice cool and tinged with a hint of dissatisfaction, just as his mind started racing. Leo decided to drop the act. "Well, after that move, I don't think I could sleep if I wanted to," he quipped with a smile. "Why are you avoiding me?" Lily's voice was exceptionally cold, so frosty it almost made him wonder if some other woman had crawled into his bed. "What do you mean, avoiding you?" Leo rubbed his nose and threw out a casual lie. "I was going to come find you after I finished my work, but it looked like you were already asleep. I didn't want to wake you, so I came back." Lily ruthlessly exposed his lie. "The light in my room has been on the whole time. I haven't slept. I was waiting for you." Caught, Leo didn't flinch. He just laid his cards on the table with a feigned helplessness. "Okay, I admit it. I've been exhausted lately. My body can't really take it. Can we wait until I'm feeling better?" It was a weak excuse, the male equivalent of a woman saying, "I'm not in the mood," but in this situation, it was the best shield he could find. Lily was quiet for a few seconds. She seemed to believe him this time, and silently let go. Just as Leo breathed a sigh of relief, Lily threw off the covers and straddled his waist, looking down at him as she began to undress. A sudden, brilliant flash of lightning illuminated the dark room, and for a few seconds, Lily's magnificent figure was silhouetted against the window, the perfect combination of innocence and sin. Leo's heart hammered in his chest. "Leo, I've missed you." Lily pressed herself against him, her tone almost a plea. "This way, you won't be tired." "Okay." "One, absolutely not. I work my ass off all day, and when I come home, I still have to perform my husbandly duties. Are you treating me like a pack mule? If this keeps up, I'm done for." "Not recommended, too. Gentle and caring. Even if you were standing naked in front of me, I would only help you put your clothes back on." "I'm sorry, baby, but I can't do anything that would hurt a woman." "Not recommended. Choose with caution. 3. Enthusiastic invitation. Honey, I've missed you too. I love you. Strongly recommended." Option 3. Analysis. Do not be stingy with your affection. Even if the emotion is built on lies, a possessive woman will believe it wholeheartedly. "I miss you too," Leo said, his hands finding her smooth thighs and pulling her fully into his embrace. He confessed with passion, "Lily, I love you." Lily's brow furrowed in a brief flash of pain, but it was quickly replaced by a look of overwhelming joy. She started sobbing. I thought your feelings had changed." Leo leaned down and kissed her. "Silly girl," he soothed. "Why would you think that?" Tears streamed down her face as she explained her grievance. But Isabel is pregnant." "That doesn't change my love for you," Leo said, wiping her tears. "You're my first love. You're the most important woman in my heart." The words were cheesy and something a total player would say, but Lily was naive enough and hopelessly devoted enough to believe him. The truth was, Leo treated all his girlfriends as the most important person in his heart. Each one required a different approach, and each one believed him without question, except for Chloe, who might occasionally call him on his bullshit. Ding! Lily Reed's affinity for the host has increased by 10 points. Current affinity, 100. No further increase is possible. The subject now views the host as the most important person in her life. Lily took the initiative, wrapping her arms around his neck and kissing him, her breath coming in short, ragged bursts. "I want to hear it again. Tell me you love me." "I love you," Leo said without hesitation, and the storm raging inside the bedroom seemed to become even more intense than the one outside. Time flew. More than 2 months had passed since the start of the semester. "Dad, right here? Does this spot still hurt?" Yeah, right there." On a Sunday afternoon, In a bedroom at the Timeless Impressions apartment complex, Leo was lying face down on a large, soft bed. Maya was perched on his lower back, kneading the muscles there. Hee hee, Leo the pig. Looks like you need to hit the gym, Chloe teased from her spot propped against the headboard. She watched her best friend straddling Leo and playfully tapped his nose with her foot. How long have we all been together? And you're already getting backaches. Easy for you to say. Leo's muffled protest came from the pillow. Every weekend, you two treat me like I'm not even human. You try it. For the past 2 months, since they were in school, Maya and Chloe had latched onto him like ghosts every single weekend. Worse, influenced by their landlady, Isabel, Lily had been making demands every night after he got home for dinner and she had showered. Between that and his work, even Leo's enhanced physique was starting to protest under the relentless pressure. Chloe giggled mischievously. Weren't you pretty happy when Maya joined in? How come you're surrendering already? It's okay, Dad. Maya leaned down and whispered comfortingly in his ear. Even if you break your back, I won't mind. We can always switch from manual to automatic. I'm going to the bathroom. Leo patted Maya's thigh, signaling her to get up. He rolled his neck and forced a weary smile. Sooner or later, you two are going to be the death of me. Maya stuck out her tongue. Dying at the hands of a beautiful woman isn't the worst way to go. After Leo left the bedroom, Chloe's tone turned serious. Maya, are we being too hard on him? If this keeps up, is he going to have, problems? Maya rolled her eyes in mock disgust. Please, you're the one who's insatiable every weekend, demanding we go find him. Shut up. You're the insatiable one, Chloe shot back, her face flushing as she kicked her friend with a slender foot. Inside the bathroom, Leo had just finished and was washing his hands when his phone buzzed twice with new messages. He opened it to see a screenshot and a cute emoji from Lily. He tapped the image to enlarge it and froze. Country mouse, 2 lines. Screenshot of positive pregnancy test, cute emoji. Offline mode. Stay right where you are. I'm on my way back. A mix of shock and joy flooded Leo as he put his phone away. He splashed his face with water from the sink and muttered to himself, a wry smile on his face. Well, yeah, we never use protection. If she didn't get pregnant, that would mean there's a problem with me. Lately, Lily had been like a succubus. Every day after school and dinner, she'd find her way into his bed and wouldn't let him use a shield. With his physical stats being what they were, it was only natural that sparks would fly after so many high-frequency encounters. But even though he was mentally prepared for it, the reality of Lily's pregnancy still sent a jolt of anxious tension through his delight. The situation was spiraling far beyond his control. He had originally hoped his little rich girl, Eleanor, could help him strategize or at least mediate the growing rift between Lily and his landlady, Isabel. But Eleanor had gone abroad at the beginning of last month. Every time he messaged her, she claimed she was busy and couldn't come back. They'd barely exchange a few sentences before she would abruptly go offline. Leo knew that wasn't Eleanor's style. That bastard would want to stick to him 24/7. The tone and vibe of the text felt off, too normal. He suspected it wasn't even her messaging him. He figured Harrison Hayes had taken her abroad specifically to keep them apart. With 2 women already pregnant, Leo was feeling overwhelmed. If Eleanor got thrown back into the mix, things could get even worse. After a few brief, stilted exchanges, he stopped trying to contact her. The priority right now was ensuring the baby in his landlady's belly was delivered safely. Click. The bathroom door opened and Maya walked in. Seeing Leo standing frozen in front of the sink, she playfully slapped his butt. What's up, Dad? What are you spacing out about? You scared me. The touch snapped Leo back to reality. Can't you wait until I'm out? Besides, it's not like there's only one bathroom in this apartment. TCH, don't be so dramatic. It's not like I haven't seen it all before. Maya waved a dismissive hand, her eyes twinkling mischievously. What were you thinking about so intensely? Just thinking about what's for dinner, Leo said calmly, washing his hands again. Maya tilted her head. Huh, didn't you say you were driving us to get hot pot tonight? Leo feigned a moment of realization. Oh, right, I almost forgot. Yeah, hot pot tonight. Maya cut straight to the chase. I bet you were thinking about Lily Reed, weren't you? All right, Leo paused. Since she'd guessed, he could only offer a helpless smile. It's been so long since the semester started, and I still haven't figured out a way to get those 2 to meet. I don't dare let them. If I knew it. Don't try to play these little games with me. Anyone who didn't know better would think our relationship was purely platonic, Maya warned, puffing out her cheeks. She then pulled out her phone, opened her messages, and showed it to him triumphantly. Look who this is. When did you add her? Leo asked, incredulous. He took Maya's phone and scrolled through her chat history with Lily. They had talked quite a lot. It wasn't the kind of deep, tell-all friendship she had with Chloe, but getting a shy girl like Lily to open up this much was a major achievement. After reading the chat log, Leo gave Maya a thumbs up. You really are a gaming princess. That was then, this is now. Besides, if I weren't a gaming princess, do you think I'd have the skills to chat up your other girl like this? Maya blushed slightly. And you have no idea how reserved Lily is. It took me days just to break the ice with her. That's just her personality. She's quiet and introverted, Leo said with a nod. So, how did you get her contact info anyway? It was pouring on the first day of school. I found an excuse to borrow an umbrella from her after class, then added her so I could return it, Maya said proudly. And let me tell you, she's so genuinely naive. No wonder you guys like her type. She's so easy to trick. We had a whole long conversation about grocery shopping. If I were a guy, I could probably convince her to have 10 of my kids. Don't say it like that. You make me sound like some player who just tricks girls into bed. Leo corrected her earnestly. For instance, I fell for your sunny, understanding personality. Only later did I realize, hey, you also happen to be gorgeous with a great body. That just made me like you even more. Ding. Maya Pierce's affinity for the host has increased by 10 points. Current affinity, 100. No further increase is possible. The subject now views the host as the most important person in her life. I don't believe you. A man's words are all lies, Maya said, but a sweet smile played on her lips. She stepped forward and hugged him, tilting her head up. Jerk Dad, did you say the same thing to Chloe? It was always the same story. No matter how smart a woman was, no matter how good her defenses were against players, the moment she fell for a guy, all those defenses would drop to zero. With the right atmosphere and timing, any sweet talk could make her deliriously happy. Of course, this wasn't the first time Leo had used lines like this. When he first started dating Chloe, he'd exhausted his entire mental library of romantic phrases. How could he not have said it to her? In moments like these, the charm of a lie was undeniable. Leo wrapped one arm around Maya's slim waist and gently pinched her earlobe with his other hand. I don't remember, but you were the first. Maya nuzzled against his chest for a moment, then scampered over to lock the door. Hee kissy time. Leo feigned annoyance, pushing at her smooth cheek. Oh, come on, you're acting like a kid. Come on, just a quick peck. Chloe's still in the bedroom. It wouldn't be good if she saw. Oh, just one kiss. With Chloe right there, don't you think it's more exciting? As they playfully pushed and shoved, the bathroom door suddenly swung open. Chloe stood there, her face a thundercloud, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. You know, if I stood here and watched, wouldn't that be even more exciting? P.S. The web series adaptation of this novel is out now. If you're interested, you should check it out. The actress playing the landlady is a 1:1 perfect match. A while later, the dog days of summer arrived, and the weather turned scorching hot. The bone-chilling winter seemed to have vanished in the blink of an eye. The students at Portland State University started dressing in lighter clothes, especially the women, who took advantage of the sweltering heat to show off their fair skin and beautiful figures, a dazzling display that sent the male students' hormones into overdrive. As Chloe and Maya, the two best friends, walked home from campus, their cool yet fashionable outfits turned countless heads. Since getting together with Leo, Maya's style had become less trendy and revealing. Even Chloe often teased her about being tamed. Chloe's own style hadn't changed much. She still favored a youthful, vibrant look, but her outfits had also become more conservative. Even in this heat, she didn't opt for short skirts or thigh-highs to show off her figure. More importantly, both of them carried a subtle air of maturity and gentleness that was beyond their years. Is your friend here yet? Chloe stood under the shade of a sycamore tree, shielding her eyes from the blistering sun as she scanned the students coming and going at the campus gate. She said she's almost here, Maya said, putting her phone away and draping an arm over her best friend's shoulder. You should know this girl. Try not to be too surprised, okay? Why are you being so mysterious? Bathed in sunlight, Chloe stretched lazily and pulled out her phone to scroll through her friends' social media feeds to pass the time. Most of her friends were relatives from back home in Florida or old high school and middle school classmates. Their posts were pretty boring. Eventually, she opened Leo's profile, curious to see if her big piggy had posted anything fun. But unfortunately, besides a few ads related to his new movie, the only posts were from when they had first met. Maya leaned over to look at Chloe's phone. You know, our Leo really doesn't post much. He's not interested in that stuff, Chloe grumbled. Her own profile was filled with posts about him. As she scrolled down, a sweet smile spread across her face. She found a picture of them holding hands under the white stag sign. She had even left a comment back then. Offline mode. Went out for dinner and picked up a girlfriend. I'm so jealous, Maya said bluntly, pressing her cheek against Chloe's. Nope. Next time I'm taking a picture like this with Leo and posting it. We're all family, after all. No way. Chloe immediately craned her neck. You're starting to act like you're taking over the main spot. We agreed. You'd only enter his body, not his life. TCH, Maya huffed. Then, her eyes gleamed with mischief. If you won't let me post one like that, then it's okay if I take that kind of picture with him, right? I won't post it. I'll just keep it for myself. You're such a pervert. Chloe blushed, but she didn't react too strongly. She was used to her wild best friend and honestly believed she would actually make that kind of video or photo with Leo. Sorry, I'm late, a soft voice said from behind them. Chloe turned around and froze. It was Lily Reed. Not at all. We just got here, Maya said warmly, making the introductions. Let me introduce you. This is my good friend, Lily Reed. Lily, this is my best friend since we were kids, Chloe Miller. We've been sleeping in the same bed for years. Hello, Lily said with a nervous smile. She wasn't very good at talking to new people. Hi. Hello. How did you two meet? Chloe was having trouble processing this. She was especially curious how her wild, bitchy best friend had managed to befriend Lily. We met when I borrowed an umbrella from her, Maya said, trying to liven up the atmosphere. Chloe, Lily is basically our neighbor. Chloe's face lit up with surprise, and she switched to a folksy drawl. Well, I'll be. You're from Florida, too. Lily quickly waved her hands. Oh, no. I'm from Idaho. Huh? What's going on? Chloe shot a confused look at Maya. Maya coughed awkwardly. Well, Florida is practically next door to Idaho, right? So it's not wrong to call you neighbors. Chloe's mouth twitched. Dude, they're over 1,000 miles apart. You're really stretching it. Oh, whatever. We're all Americans. That's what matters, Maya said with a careless wave. Come on, let's go. It's Friday. The hot pot place will be packed if we don't hurry. Where are we going to eat? Lily asked with a small smile. I need to let my boyfriend know first. The one near the airport, Chloe said, then added curiously, Hey, Lily, you have a boyfriend? What does he do? Yes, he's a... Hey, getting a little off topic here, Maya interrupted, feigning composure. Can you two spare a thought for me, the single one here? Don't just rub it in, okay? Sorry, Lily said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Chloe gave Maya a suspicious look. What's gotten into you? Let's go. We need to get the car from the parking lot first. I have to rank up in league tonight, Maya said, her heart still pounding. She quickly took the lead, changing the subject. Chloe chuckled. Don't mind her. She's a little nuts. Okay, Lily murmured, hurrying to catch up to Maya. She wasn't used to talking with strangers. Trailing behind them, Chloe's eyes scanned Lily from head to toe. Holy crap, her figure is amazing. How does she maintain that? She glanced down at her own chest, and a wave of unprecedented defeat washed over her. PSU was a big campus, and they weren't in the same major, but they still saw each other occasionally. Chloe felt like Lily's figure had improved since the last time she'd seen her. She had gained a little weight, but it didn't detract from her stunning proportions at all, especially her most prominent assets. Chloe almost wondered if the girl had some foreign genes. It's fine, she thought, comforting herself. Leo said he likes them small. The thought of her boyfriend's reassurance made her feel a little better. Since she was a friend of her best friend, Chloe was naturally warm and welcoming to Lily. But Lily didn't say much. She wasn't comfortable with the process of getting to know new people and could only listen quietly and patiently to Chloe's cheerful chatter. The only thing that fell off to Chloe was that her usually wild best friend seemed to have become remarkably prim and proper. Their conversations stuck to bland, superficial topics. Usually, when Maya chatted with their other two roommates in the dorm, she always managed to steer the conversation toward their boyfriends. Whatever topic was the raunchiest, that's what Maya would talk about. But right now, Maya wasn't just avoiding talking about men in general. She seemed to be deliberately sidestepping the topic of boyfriends, which was usually the most fertile ground for conversation among girls. Chloe figured her best friend probably thought Lily was too straight-laced to enjoy such gossip and was just being considerate. After all, her best friend was a master at tailoring her behavior to her audience. So, the conversation revolved around academics and hobbies. You know, I still can't believe you and my friend hit it off, Chloe said with a bright smile at the bustling hot pot restaurant. When she told me she was going to introduce me to a friend, I thought she'd be just as wild as her. Not at all, Lily said with a shy smile. Just then, a wave of nausea hit her, and she frowned, letting out a soft gag. What's wrong? Are you feeling sick? Chloe asked with concern. Can you not handle spicy food? Lily had made the same motion several times during the meal, making Chloe think she wasn't used to the heat. No, it's not that, Lily said with a wry smile, too embarrassed to explain further. Maya also thought Lily couldn't handle spicy food, but they had ordered the mildest split pot, and the non-spicy broth was on Lily's side. After seeing her make that vomiting gesture several times, a startling thought occurred to Maya. Lily, you're not pregnant, are you? Maya swallowed hard, her voice a nervous joke. I remember when we first met, you weren't this full-figured. What are you talking about? Chloe gave her friend a strange look. That kind of tactless, wild guess wasn't something Maya would normally say. While it hadn't ruined her figure, Lily was definitely a bit rounder than the first time they'd met. Lily lowered her head, thought for a moment, and then admitted with a shy blush. I'm almost 3 months along. Huh, really? College pregnancies weren't unheard of. Some students even brought their kids to class. Chloe was immediately intrigued and offered her congratulations. Congratulations. You'll be a mom in a few more months. Thank you, Lily said with a gratified smile. The conversation then shifted entirely to the topic of pregnancy. Chloe seemed fascinated, peppering Lily with questions like an investigative journalist. Resting her chin on her hand, Chloe looked at the slightly fuller figure across from her, her voice full of longing and envy. So, does that mean you're going to marry your boyfriend after graduation? Lily paused for a moment, a flicker of helplessness in her eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a determined smile. Yes, I'm going to marry him. He said he would marry me. Our parents have already met. That's so wonderful, Chloe sighed with envy. That's the high school sweetheart's dream. I'm so jealous. You must really love your boyfriend, even though he always lies to me and... Lily cradled a glass of juice in her hands, her words trailing off. A heavy mood seemed to settle over her before she forced a smile. But I still love him very much. Guys are never honest, Chloe said, sensing that Lily's relationship wasn't as perfect as she imagined. She immediately started complaining, trying to change the subject and break the somber atmosphere. In the beginning, my guy was always lying to me too. We've been together for so many years. I've developed muscle memory for his lies. Lily smiled. You must love him a lot too, then. Chloe blushed. She wasn't as direct as Lily. She propped up her flushed cheek with one hand and stirred her boba tea with the other, affecting a nonchalant attitude. It's all right, I guess. He's handsome, and I'm just really into his looks. After saying something she didn't mean, Chloe felt that something was off. Usually, her best friend would have jumped in to call her out by now. Why was she so quiet? She turned to look at Maya, who was staring blankly into space, as if her soul had left her body. Hey, what are you spacing out about? Chloe waved a hand in front of Maya's face. Maya snapped back to reality, her smile strained. Huh? Oh, I was just thinking how amazing Lily is. She could be a top student at our school, even while she's pregnant. What are you talking about? Chloe looked at her friend, confused. That was another completely random, tactless comment. Not at all like Maya. I don't know what I'm saying. It's all in the beer, Maya said with a weak laugh, downing her non-alcoholic pineapple beer in one go. Her strange behavior made Chloe suspicious. She felt like Maya was definitely hiding something from her today. The rest of the meal was tense and awkward. After they parted ways with Lily at the restaurant, it was around 7 in the evening. Maya and Chloe drove the Fiat 500 back to the Timeless Impressions apartment complex. After parking in a private garage, Chloe turned to Maya, who was unbuckling her seatbelt with a worried expression. Maya, are you hiding something from me? Maya froze for a second, then forced a bright smile. Okay, fine. I was the one who ate the cake from the fridge yesterday, not Leo. I got hungry in the middle of the night, and your cake was the only thing there. I knew it. Chloe fumed. Leo was at the studio yesterday. How could he have come back to steal my cake? Wait, that's not what I was asking about. Maya blinked innocently. Then what were you asking? There's no way you would have introduced me to Lily for no reason, Chloe said, her tone serious and probing. Is there some secret between you two? Something you want me to know, but can't tell me directly? Actually, faced with Chloe's increasingly accurate deductions, Maya's mind raced before she confessed with feigned difficulty. Okay, the truth is, I'm pregnant. What? Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. She stared at Maya's flat stomach, her mind a chaotic mix of complexity and confusion. She felt like she'd been beaten to the punch. Oh, congratulations, Chloe said after a long pause, her expression flat, but her eyes were starting to well up. She had been willing to turn a blind eye to Maya's relationship with Leo, but the idea of Maya getting pregnant with his child before she did was something she couldn't accept right away. But she had been the one to create this arrangement, and Maya was her best friend of so many years. She couldn't even get angry. The grievance just swelled inside her until she was sniffling, tears streaming down her face. Hey, don't cry. I was kidding. You actually believe that. Maya quickly tried to soothe her. I'm with you every day. Even during our sessions with Leo, you're always there supervising, right? We never went without protection. How could there be a data breach? Usually, when Maya made these kind of raunchy jokes, Chloe would blush and playfully smack her. But this time, Chloe was mentally retracing the past few weeks. It was true. The two of them were never out of her sight, and they never met up privately. Sniffling, Chloe looked from her friend's apologetic face to her stomach, still skeptical. I'm really not. This is just a food baby, Maya said, exasperated. You know pregnant women can't eat spicy food. I practically drank the entire pot of broth back there. How could I be pregnant? I don't care if you are or not, Chloe mumbled, wiping her tears defiantly, but a wave of relief washed over her. If you don't care, then why are you crying? Maya grumbled. The second I said I was pregnant, you looked like you wanted to eat me alive. Oomph. I'll cry if I want to. It's none of your business. Chloe lifted her chin and went to the front door, pulling out her key. She stormed into her bedroom, and Maya, standing behind her, clearly saw her let out a heavy sigh of relief. She can't even handle the idea of her best friend of 10 years being pregnant. What am I going to do now? Maya thought, a chill running down her spine as she pictured Lily's baby bump. She couldn't even imagine how her jealous best friend would react if she found out the baby in Lily's belly was Leo's. Feeling utterly lost, Maya flopped onto the sofa and pulled out her phone to message Leo. Maya, Dad, I think I'm in over my head. You didn't tell me the other team opened with Infinity Edge. I don't think I can support this play anymore. Grimacing Mickey Mouse emoji. Leo, who was at the Evergreen Terrace apartments taking care of his landlady, received Maya's bizarre message. His mind went into overdrive, a terrifying thought taking root. He quickly typed back. Did you find out Lily's pregnant? Did Chloe see anything? Maya had told him she was going to introduce Chloe to Lily to lay the groundwork for their future relationship. Leo had been worried, but he knew that if he didn't take this step, they'd be stuck hiding forever. That kind of life was suffocating. So he had agreed to Maya's risky move. Maya, Chloe knows too. She just doesn't know you're the one who funded the equipment purchase. Cursing circle emoji. A small mercy, Leo thought, letting out a tense breath. If it weren't for his full build support, his base would have been wiped in one push. Before he could reply Maya, a message came in from Chloe. Chloe, Piggy, what you up to? Peeking piggy emoji. Leo glanced at Isabel, who was napping on the bed, and replied without batting an eye. At the office. Working. What's up? Miss me? Chloe, what's the point of missing you? You never come see me. Always busy, busy, busy. Are you obsessed with making money? Sighing piggy emoji. Offline mode. You're in charge of being beautiful. I'm in charge of bringing home the bacon. Once this busy period is over, we'll take a road trip to Lake Tahoe. Waggling eyebrows emoji. Chloe, you said that last time, and then you bailed because you had something to do. Don't think I'm a pushover emoji. Offline mode. Not this time. If I'm lying this time, I'm a pig. I'll definitely take you and Maya when I'm done with work. Chloe, you're already a pig. Screenshot. Leo opened the screenshot. It was a nickname she had set for him in her contacts. Pinocchio. Offline mode. Don't be mad. I'll really take you guys this time. You have to be understanding. Chloe, I'm not mad. I just saw Lily today and found out she's pregnant, and it made me think a lot about things. I want to talk to you about the future, see what you were thinking. Blushing emoji. The hint was as subtle as a brick. Knowing Chloe had just found out about Lily's pregnancy, Leo knew exactly what she wanted to talk about, even with his toes. 1. Lily Reed, the girl who was getting bullied at school? She's pregnant already? We need to get a move on too. Let's aim for a family of 6 on our next vacation. Strongly recommended too. So she's pregnant. What's there to think about? You're getting more and more sentimental. Not recommended 3. Give me a break. I'm completely tapped out. Besides, I'm stuck between 2 mothers-to-be right now. I like to live a few more years. Not recommended. Option 1 analysis. This response weaves a sweet lie for your girlfriend while also giving her a vision of the future to look forward to. Offline mode. Lily Reed, the girl who was getting bullied at school? Chloe, yeah, that's her. For some reason, Maya started hanging out with her. Leo stared at the green text bubbles on his screen, then at the peacefully sleeping Isabel. He couldn't bring himself to type out the second half of the sentence. He decided to play dead and not respond. After a few minutes, Chloe, apparently anxious for his opinion, texted again. Piggy, are you busy again? 5:20 P.M. Chloe, fine. Are you coming home tonight? I'll make your favorite sweet and sour pork. Grinning cat emoji. 5:32 P.M. Chloe, if you're not coming back, just let me know when you're done with work. I won't prep the pork until you're on your way. 6:40 P.M. Chloe, wow, it's thundering so loud here. It looks like it's about to pour. The weather forecast is so unreliable lately. Drive safe. Cat holding a heart emoji. 7:12 p.m. Chloe, Piggy, are you done yet? Let me tell you, Maya played a really mean joke on me today. It made me cry. Want to hear about it? 7:15 p.m. Chloe, Piggy, it's raining. A huge storm. And thunder. Look at this lightning I caught. Isn't it cool? 15-second video. 7:25 p.m. Chloe, Piggy, stop working. I miss you. Seeing the messages from his girlfriend, Leo was finally moved. He could picture her curled up in bed, clutching her phone, waiting for his reply. He quickly typed out a response. Offline mode, just finished. I almost forgot about it until you mentioned Lily being pregnant. We need to get a move on too. Let's aim for a family of 6 on our next vacation. Grinning cat emoji. Chloe must have been holding her phone because she replied instantly. Chloe, okay, I'll listen to you. Cute emoji. For the next few days, it was as if the heavens had forgotten Portland, trapping it in an endless rain. A constant drizzle fell, blanketing the city in a hazy mist. Inside a villa at Willow Creek Estates, Leo was in the kitchen wearing an apron, busy simmering chicken soup. Lily stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the blurred silhouettes of the neighboring villas in the downpour. She gently touched her slightly rounded belly, a subtle, triumphant smile playing on her lips. So what if she has money? Not everything in the world can be bought. I just didn't expect the other one to get pregnant at her age. Huh. Hearing Lily's inner thoughts, Leo stopped what he was doing and glanced over at her. Her face held a victor's sneer, and she was looking directly in the direction of Eleanor's villa. Since becoming pregnant, Lily's personality seemed to have taken a strange turn. Whenever she was alone and quiet, her mind would fill with scornful thoughts about Isabel and Eleanor. Only in front of Leo did she maintain her sweet, naive girlfriend persona. Leo wasn't surprised by this stark contrast. He had known for a long time that Lily had a possessive, yandere side. Pregnancy made women overthink things, and Lily was already a naturally possessive person. The fact that she was only complaining in her head and hadn't demanded he cut off contact with the other women was the biggest concession she could make. They say that when a woman is pregnant, she'll overthink everything and find all sorts of ways to blame her partner, either demanding the moon or complaining that the stars aren't square. But so far, Lily hadn't given Leo any trouble at all. Even knowing he was a shameless player, she never used it against him. In fact, she often internally blamed the other women. Perhaps sensing his gaze, Lily blinked and turned to look at him in the kitchen. The cold, disdainful smile vanished instantly, replaced by a bashful blush. She pointed at the torrential rain outside and murmured, It's raining harder again. Can you not go to work today? Lately, Lily had been finding all sorts of excuses to keep Leo at home with her, either claiming her stomach hurt or that the rain was too heavy and she was lonely. Leo knew exactly what she was thinking, but he couldn't find a good reason to refuse. Compared to Isabel, this was Lily's first pregnancy, and he couldn't help but feel a little more protective of her. The chicken soup was almost ready. Leo untied his apron and walked over to her, placing his hands on his hips with a teasing grumble. You want me to stay home every day? The company's going to go bankrupt without its boss. And when we're broke, how am I supposed to support all of you? Lily lowered her head guiltily, then quickly lifted it with determination. After the baby is born, I'll get a job. Her answer surprised him. What about your studies? Don't forget, you haven't graduated yet. It's okay. Lily shook her head dismissively. I can work and study at the same time, and I can take care of the baby when I get home. Let's not do that, Leo said with a bemused chuckle. Making you go to work right after giving birth without even letting you recover? Forget what the tabloids would say. If my mom found out, she'd come after me with a knife. Your mom isn't that scary, Lily said with a small smile. She reached up and stroked his face gently. Leo, I like you so much. Me too, Leo said, taking her hand in his with a sincere nod. That much wasn't a lie. He just said it to all of them. All right, let's get today's quota taken care of. After that, drink the soup and go upstairs for a nap. Leo gestured toward her chest, then headed back to the kitchen. The doctor had said that because of Lily's generous proportions, the baby wouldn't go hungry, but if she didn't express some milk, she would experience painful engorgement. Oh, Lily blushed and obediently followed him. At that same moment, in Portland's largest maternity hospital, Catherine Hayes was walking into a private room with a lab report in her hand, her expression complicated. On the bed, Eleanor, who had just woken up, stared blankly out the window. The rain seemed to have been falling for days without end. The sky was perpetually overcast, the thick clouds like a giant black cloth blocking out the sun. Occasional flashes of lightning would illuminate the city, followed by deafening claps of thunder. Seeing his listless daughter and her growing belly, Harrison Hayes felt a mix of emotions. He opened his mouth to say something several times but always swallowed his words, letting them dissolve into a silent sigh. Hearing familiar footsteps, Harrison stood up nervously. Well, are the results back? See for yourself. Catherine handed him the prenatal report and went to pour her daughter a glass of warm water. Harrison took the report, his expression shifting between tension and relief. Perhaps because she had been pampered all her life, Eleanor's first pregnancy was not going smoothly. Fortunately, her team of nurses and nutritionists were the best in the country, so it wasn't a major issue. When he read the last line, a look of pure joy flashed across his face. Eleanor was pregnant with fraternal twins, a boy and a girl. Both were perfectly healthy, without even the most common minor defects. Harrison suppressed his excitement and looked at Catherine, who was now sitting by their daughter's bed. Ahem, have you confirmed this with Dr. Zhang's team? Catherine's feelings were a mix of joy and a hard-to-describe helplessness, but she nodded gently. Congratulations, Mr. Hayes, one of the bodyguards said with a smile, having seen the report and Harrison's reaction. Harrison didn't want to admit his unconcealable joy in front of his staff. Congratulations for what? He grumbled, feigning indifference. We haven't even found the father. What's there to be? TCH. Before he could finish, Catherine shot him a fierce glare. Harrison looked at his vacant-eyed daughter, then at his furious wife, and swallowed the rest of his sentence. Just then, a slightly disheveled bodyguard rushed in from outside. He was about to whisper something in Harrison's ear when Harrison stopped him with a cough. Let's talk outside. Yes, sir. The bodyguard nodded and followed Harrison into the hallway. He eagerly pulled out 3 photos and said with confidence, Mr. Hayes, these are Chloe Miller's college roommates. The one in the middle is her best friend since middle school, Maya Pierce. Single-parent household, parents just divorced. According to my sources, both of them are living with Leo Shepard now. I've already sent her all the evidence of Lily Reed's relationship with Shepard. I believe it won't be long before Chloe Miller shows up at his house in Willow Creek Estates. Look, I only took out a few thousand on an online loan. You don't have to be so aggressive, do you? It's not like I'm not going to pay it back. On a rain-soaked afternoon at the Daily Grind Cafe, Katie sat on the edge of her seat, facing a burly man, her smile a mixture of helplessness and appeasement. Sir, don't worry, the money is coming through soon. I'll pay you back before you know it. Since starting college, Katie's spending had skyrocketed. A few weeks ago, she had her eye on a designer bag that cost several $1,000s. She gritted her teeth and bought on a payment plan, figuring she could use her monthly allowance from her parents to pay it off. Who would have thought that right after she bought the bag, her mother would have a sudden heart attack, requiring a massive sum for surgery? Katie's family was a modest means. Left with no choice, she sold the bag at a loss and took out loans from various online lenders to cover the medical bills. She never expected the loan company to send someone to collect the debt in person so soon. The man took a sip of his coffee and glanced at her coolly. Katie, fashion design major, 21 years old. You have a younger brother. Your parents are laborers. Your mother just had a heart attack and is currently at OHSU hospital. That's enough. I only borrowed a few $1,000s. Do you have to harass me every day? Katie couldn't take it anymore, her voice rising with anger. If you dare leak my personal information, I'll call the police, and we can all go down in flames together. No one wants to leak your family's information. The man rolled his eyes, annoyed, and slid his phone across the table. Watch this first. We'll talk after. Katie had heard stories of female college students who defaulted on online loans and were forced to film naked videos by the loan companies. She instinctively recoiled, her voice pleading. Sir, I'm begging you. I don't want to take any naked pictures. I'll definitely pay you back. Just give me a little more time, please. Are you crazy? Who wants to take naked pictures of you? With your looks? You think you're worth it? And which one of your ears heard me say I was from the loan company? The man snapped, losing his patience. Just watch the video on the phone. Do you recognize the person in it? Okay, I'll watch. Katie quickly opened the video on the phone. Her panic instantly turned to surprise. Isn't this Chloe's boyfriend, Leo Shepard? The man tilted his chin. Keep watching. Katie focused on the video. It didn't look like it was secretly recorded. It seemed to be surveillance footage from somewhere. There was a timestamp in the top right corner, and the camera angle was fixed on the front entrance of a luxurious villa. On screen, Leo parked his car in the garage and walked to the front door. Before he could pull out his keys, the door opened, and a woman with a stunning figure emerged, melting into his arms. The video was silent, but their intimate embrace said it all. Isn't that Lily Reed? The surveillance footage was blurry, and Katie didn't recognize her at first. But when she saw the woman's impressive figure, she immediately identified her as the school's unofficial goddess, Lily Reed. Putting two and two together, she looked at the well-dressed man in front of her and asked cautiously, "So, you're not from the loan company. You're a private investigator." The man didn't deny it. "You could say that. Then what do you want with me?" Since he wasn't here to collect a debt, Katie breathed a sigh of relief. She casually flipped her hair back and took a sip of her coffee. "You should be talking to Chloe about this. Do you need her contact information?" On the surface, Katie was happy for Chloe and her wealthy boyfriend, but deep down, she was green with envy. She considered herself just as attractive as Chloe. Why couldn't she find a rich and handsome boyfriend? Now, learning that Leo was cheating on Chloe, she felt a strange sense of satisfaction. "I want you to personally show this video to Chloe Miller," the man said seriously. "And I want you to convince her to go to this location and catch him in the act." "Why should I help you?" Katie said dismissively. "Even if Leo is cheating, it has nothing to do with me. He's not my boyfriend, so why should I care? Besides, what if Leo finds out I was the one who snitched? What if he comes after me? This is a thankless job. You should find someone else." Her voice trailed off as the man pulled out a paper contract and slid it across the table. "You should have led with that," Katie said with a knowing smile. She knew a PI wouldn't ask for her help for free. She gracefully accepted the contract and looked it over. $5 million. Katie looked up from the contract, her jaw dropping as she stared at the man. "Are you sure you're just a PI? This $5 million wasn't originally for you." "Unfortunately, Chloe Miller's best friend doesn't seem to need the money. She was here before you," the man said, not answering her question, and handed her a fountain pen. "I did my research. That Maya Pierce's family isn't particularly wealthy, and her parents are divorced. She's Chloe's best friend. Can you tell me why she would turn down a deal that lets her make money and help her friend get rid of cheater at the same time?" "I don't know," Katie murmured, her eyes glued to the long string of zeros on the contract. "All right, have you had your fill?" The man tapped his finger on the table. "If the terms are acceptable, sign it. And you must stick to the story that you obtained this video yourself, not from me." But Chloe is my roommate," Katie said, feigning reluctance. "We've been living together for so long, we're like sisters. You're asking me to be the bad guy. You're wasting my time," the man sighed, reaching for the contract as if to take it back and find another of Chloe's roommates. "I could be the bad guy, but—" Click. Katie slammed her hand down on the contract, her face serious. "You have to add more." The man paused, then chuckled. You deserve this money." 2 hours later, after the man had explained the plan and all the necessary precautions, he took the contract and left the cafe. $8 million. $8 million. Who needs to stay in school with this kind of money? Katie felt a rush of adrenaline, her hands shaking as she clutched the cashier's check worth $8 million. After a quick search on her phone about how to deposit the check, she eagerly headed to a nearby bank. At the same time, she opened her messaging app without a shred of guilt and found her chat with Chloe, comforting herself. "Chloe, you can't blame me for this. I'm just helping you see this player for who he really is." She quickly typed out a message. "Katie Cat. Chloe, what you doing? Chloe, what's up?" "In bed, rewatching Game of Thrones." "What does thou want, my loyal subject?" "Katie Cat. Just got back taking a shower." "What's up?" "Chloe, not back yet." "What's wrong?" "Katie Cat. Chloe, there's something I need to tell you, but I'm not sure if I should." "Chloe, what is it?" "If you're asking for money, forget it. You still haven't paid me back the $3 grand I lent you." "Katie Cat, just watch this first." Video 3:15. After sending the video of Leo and Lily, Katie clutched her phone, her heart pounding in her chest. Probably another dirty joke or a jump scare video. Staring at the black and white surveillance footage, Chloe lay in her warm bed, hesitating. She held the phone at arm's length, afraid a ghostly face would suddenly pop out at her. Squinting, she cautiously pressed play. A familiar BMW drove into the frame, pulling into the garage of the villa shown on screen. Despite the blurry video, Chloe recognized Leo's BMW M8. She pulled the phone closer. Soon, Leo emerged from the garage and walked toward the front door of the villa. Does Leo own a house here too? Chloe wondered. The blurry video, the precise timestamp, the unfamiliar villa, her long-term boyfriend. And the video was from Katie, the notorious gossip queen of their class. A sense of unease, a tension she couldn't quite name, began to build in her chest. Her hand, holding the phone, grew slick with sweat. But then she thought about how busy Leo had been lately and all the promises he had made to her. The tension quickly morphed into a confident trust. She couldn't believe he would do anything to betray her. The next scene, however, made her heart seize. She shot upright in bed, her eyes glued to the screen. The person who opened the door was none other than Lily Reed, the girl she had just had dinner with a few days ago. The two of them. How could they? Before she could finish her thought, the two on screen were kissing passionately in front of the villa. Then, Leo gently rubbed Lily's rounded belly. With that one small, seemingly insignificant gesture, Chloe immediately remembered what Lily had said. She was 3 months pregnant. The video ended as they walked inside together, smiling, and closed the door. Silence. A dead silence. Chloe sat like a statue, staring at the phone screen. The light in her eyes had vanished, leaving them dull and lifeless, as if her soul had been ripped out. The world around her seemed to freeze. The sound of Maya showering and the music she was playing faded away, leaving only a suffocating quiet. Even though Chloe often joked about Leo cheating on her with other girls, now that it was actually happening, she refused to believe it. She even started making excuses for him. Maybe it's a behind-the-scenes clip from his new movie. Maybe Leo signed Lily as an actress a long time ago and didn't tell me because he was worried I'd get jealous. With AI technology being so advanced now, maybe this video is a deep fake. Yes, it's probably a deep fake, she reasoned. Leo is so busy, and he has me and Maya. He wouldn't have the energy for another girl. Having found a plausible excuse, Chloe replayed the video. But she was no expert in AI. The video looked too real. She couldn't spot any signs of manipulation. After watching it several more times, her panic grew, but she still couldn't bring herself to believe it. She kept telling herself that Katie must be up to no good. Chloe_note_8ms. Don't think I don't know. This is a deep fake. Maya has even seen deep fake porn of Leo online. Popcorn emoji. Katie Cat. Chloe, we're roommates. I have no reason to lie to you. I'm just worried about you being kept in the dark, so I had to tell you. Chloe_note_8ams. Where did you get this video? How could you have something like this? Because of the nature of Leo's work, he was extremely private. To this day, her identity as his girlfriend had not been made public. How could her roommate, who still owed her $3,000, get her hands on a video that would break the internet if it were leaked? Katie Cat. There are reasons. I can't tell you. Willow Creek Estates, Section A, Villa 8. That's where Leo is hiding her. If you don't believe me, you can go see for yourself. I wouldn't joke about something like this. Staring at the precise address, Chloe could no longer pretend that everything was fine. She wasn't a local, but even she knew the prestige of Willow Creek Estates in Portland. It was one of the most luxurious villa communities in the country, home to the rich and famous. With Leo's current assets, buying a villa there for Lily was well within his means. Katie Cat, Chloe, I know you love Leo, but you can't love him blindly. You'll only be the one who gets hurt. Chloe_no_8ams. I don't need your fake sympathy. What happens between me and Leo is none of your business. Chloe fired back an angry reply and then locked her phone, feeling a surge of panic. She didn't even know why she was taking her anger out on her roommate. Chloe. Just then, Maya poked her from outside the covers. What are you doing? I've been calling your name. Huh? What's wrong? Chloe threw back the covers and stared at Maya blankly. The hairdryer, Maya said, sitting at the vanity and pointing the buzzing hairdryer at her wet hair. I was calling you. I thought you had gone out. Chloe didn't answer. Her mind was a mess. She stared at her best friend's back, a thought suddenly striking her. Maya had inexplicably introduced her to Lily just a few days ago. A terrifying connection formed in her mind. Where are you going? Maya asked, turning off the hairdryer as she saw Chloe hurriedly getting dressed. It's pouring outside. If you're hungry, we can just order in. I actually have something to tell you. Today, Maya had been approached by a strange man who tried to bribe her. He had even shown her a video of Leo and Lily together. Though she didn't know where the video came from or who the man was, she had immediately reported it to Leo. She had planned to give Chloe a heads up too, in case the man tried to contact her directly. There's a new wonton soup place that just opened outside the complex. I'm gonna go try it out, Chloe said, trying to act calm. She suspected Maya was about to drop some bombshell on her. She grabbed an umbrella and turned to look at Maya. What did you want to tell me? Maya paused. It could wait. It's not important. Just some rumors. You go ahead. Remember to give me a bowl too. No cilantro. Okay, Chloe said heavily. She grabbed the umbrella and rushed out the door. At the same time, she sent a message to Leo. Piggy, what are you doing right now? My big piggy, at the office working. What's up? Whistling emoji. Chloe, nothing, just suddenly missed you a lot. My big piggy, I'll be done in a couple of days. I'll come keep you company then. Saluting emoji. Chloe, okay. As they texted, Chloe was already in a taxi at the rain-soaked entrance of the apartment complex. She hesitated for a long time before finally making up her mind. "Driver, take me to Willow Creek Estates." In the back of the taxi, Chloe's heart pounded with a nervous dread. Her usually cheerful face was tight with anxiety and seriousness. Several times, she opened her mouth to tell the driver to turn back, but the thought of the precise address her roommate had sent her stopped her. No one would joke about something like that. She swallowed her words, determined to see this through and prove her boyfriend's innocence. But what if it was true? What if Leo had been seeing Lily behind her back all this time, and had even gotten her pregnant? The thought made her hands, clutching her phone, tremble. She stared out the window at the blurred city lights, her anxiety mounting. The rain in Portland was torrential today, washing over the city and blurring everything into a white haze. The only sounds are the blare of car horns and the relentless drumming of rain against the taxi window. It's true, she thought, desperately trying to reassure herself. Leo and Lily have no way of knowing each other. How could they possibly have met? She came up with another, more plausible excuse for Leo, letting out a sigh that was meant to be one of relief, a small, forced smile on her face. But as she watched the GPS on the driver's phone, the distance to Willow Creek Estates shrinking, the dread in her heart grew. A few minutes later, the taxi pulled up to the main gate of the villa community. Chloe stared blankly for a moment, took a deep breath, and opened the door. The sound of the rain was deafening out here, a chaotic roar. She fumbled with her umbrella, her movements stiff as she stepped out into the downpour. "Leo's so busy," she muttered to herself, as if trying to convince herself. "And I'm here, not trusting him. I need to delete my chat history with Katie when I get back. If he sees it, who knows what he'll say?" Even now, she still believed Leo would never deceive her. She fantasized about how this would all turn out to be a big misunderstanding, how they would bicker about it, and then make up, their bond stronger than ever. "Hello, which residence are you with?" A security guard at the main gate asked politely, approaching the unfamiliar face. I don't live here," Chloe said with an embarrassed smile. "I was wondering, does Leo Shepard, the director who's really popular right now, does he live here?" The guard sized her up and offered a polite smile. "I'm sorry, we can't disclose information about our residents. Are you here to visit, or?" Even a regular apartment complex wouldn't let a stranger in without verification, let alone the most exclusive community in Portland. Chloe was about to say she was Leo's girlfriend, but remembering the private nature of his work, she opted for a different approach. "I'm his friend. I'm here to see him. Is he in Section A, Villa 8? Even though she had provided the address, the guard couldn't just let her in. He offered a compromise. "Please wait a moment. I'll call Mr. Shepard to confirm. He really lives here." The guard's words were a death blow. Chloe's face turned ashen, and a wave of overwhelming grief and confusion crashed over her. If her sweet memories with Leo were a perfectly smooth mirror, that mirror now had a spiderweb of cracks running through it. Just then, the property manager walked over and silently placed a hand on the guard's, stopping him from making the call. He glanced at Chloe under her umbrella and then discreetly pulled the guard aside. "Hello," a friendly, unfamiliar woman's voice said from behind her. Chloe snapped out of her sorrow. She hadn't even noticed a long, black limousine pull up behind her. A lavishly dressed woman was smiling warmly at her from inside the car. Across from her sat a middle-aged man with a stern expression. "Excuse me?" Chloe asked, her voice hollow, a reflex more than a question. "I'm a resident here," the woman said with an elegant smile. "I heard you say you're friends with Leo. We happen to be his neighbors. Willow Creek is huge. It's a long walk. In this rain, why don't you just ride with us?" Chloe thought for a moment and agreed. She needed an answer today one way or another. Should I register first? She turned, but the guard was gone. "Don't worry about it. I live here," the woman said, extending a hand. "Come on in, it's pouring out here." "Thank you." Chloe gritted her teeth and took the woman's hand, climbing into the luxurious car. The interior was spacious. Besides the middle-aged couple, there were two other men in suits. "So, young lady, what are you to Leo?" the woman asked, her tone casual and friendly. "You look to be in your early 20s. Are you his sister?" The man beside her remained silent, his gaze calm but tinged with a hint of pity. Chloe still didn't want to reveal her relationship with Leo to strangers. She opened her phone to a picture of him she had saved long ago and asked, "Is this the Leo Shepard who lives here? This person?" "Yes, that's him. The famous director," the woman said with a bright smile. "He and his girlfriend live in Section A, Villa 8. They're such a sweet couple, always so lovey-dovey." Is that so? Chloe felt her heart constrict, her vision blurring. Is his girlfriend named Lily Reed? The woman nodded. Yes, that's her name. Ah. Chloe let out a sudden, sharp laugh. The grief she had been suppressing surged, and she turned to stare out the window, her eyes red as she wiped away the tears streaming down her face. The middle-aged couple and the two men in suits didn't seem surprised by her reaction. They just watched her quietly, the only sound in the car her soft sobs. Just then, the limousine stopped next to a magnificent villa. The woman handed Chloe a tissue. We're here, dear. This is where Leo and his girlfriend live. If there's anything you need to. I'm his girlfriend. Chloe's voice was raw, her eyes burning. She didn't even bother with her umbrella, just threw open the door and ran out into the deluge, her small frame quickly swallowed by the rain. Wasn't that a bit too rushed? The middle-aged man, silent until now, finally asked. Rushed? If we don't cut to the chase now, your daughter is going to end up a widow. The woman snapped, her expression a mix of frustration and sorrow. Driver, let's go. Now. Meanwhile, Chloe had reached the front door of the opulent villa. Her eyes red with tears, she pressed the doorbell. Who is it? The door slowly opened, and a young woman with a sweet, beautiful face and a large, pregnant belly appeared before her. Are you Chloe Miller? Can I help you? Lily hadn't forgotten the familiar-looking girl from dinner the other week. She was just curious as to how she had found her way to her front door. I was just walking around. Chloe managed a strained smile, about to babble some excuse when a familiar voice called from behind Lily. Honey, who is it? Come on, it's time to put on the stretch mark cream. The sound of footsteps grew closer, and Leo appeared, holding a bottle of cream. He instinctively put a hand on Lily's waist. Then his gaze shifted to the doorway, and he saw Chloe, soaked to the bone. In an instant, his pupils constricted. The bottle of cream slipped from his grasp and shattered on the floor, the orange liquid pooling on the pristine tiles. For a moment, Leo wondered if he was seeing things, if this was just some girl who looked uncannily like Chloe. But as he looked closer, he saw that her height, her features, everything matched the vibrant, lovely girl he knew. The only difference was the complete absence of her usual cheerfulness. Her face was a numb mask, and she just stared at him hollow-eyed. They stood frozen, staring at each other, one filled with an ocean of grief, the other with a mountain of guilt. So, it's true, Chloe said, her eyes fixed on the man behind Lily. The despair and heartbreak she had fought so hard to suppress now coalesced into a single, bitter laugh. All their sweet memories together were shattered by the absurd, sordid scene in front of her. When she had seen Lily, there had still been a sliver of hope, a desperate part of her that was willing to believe it was all a misunderstanding, that Leo was innocent. But now, with the proof right in front of her, the man she loved, standing behind a pregnant Lily, not even her wildest imagination could conjure an excuse. Honey, I think my stomach feels a little weird. Can you help me with the cream now? Lily, seeing the tension between them, immediately understood. She pressed herself against Leo, her eyes darting warily at Chloe before transforming her expression into a friendly smile. Chloe, come on in. It's cold outside. It was the first time Leo had ever heard Lily speak so articulately. Her speed, her emotional inflection, it was completely different from the shy, sweet girl he knew. Honey, how sweet, Chloe said, her laughter turning into sobs. Her eyes, red and swollen, bore into him. Is that what you call each other? No, Chloe, just listen to me. I can explain. Yes, it is, Lily interrupted, clutching Leo's shirt tightly. I forgot to tell you when we had dinner. This is my boyfriend, Leo. We've been together for almost 3 years. 3 years. So that means... If she had been clinging to a lie before, Lily's words obliterated Chloe's last line of defense, shattering every perception she had of Leo. By that timeline, he hadn't just recently gotten with Lily. He had been dating both of them at the same time from the very beginning. All those promises, all those sweet moments, all of it had been an act. Leo, Chloe's voice was devoid of all its former energy, all its fight. She looked at him with a sort of resigned, mournful admiration. You really live up to your name. In that moment, the eloquent Leo was rendered speechless. All his usual tricks, his clever words, failed him. Like any man caught in a lie, he wanted to explain, but he had no idea how to spin this. To make matters worse, the system seemed to have no solution for this catastrophic confrontation. No options appeared. All he could manage was a reflexive plea. No, Chloe, listen to me. It's not what you think. Liar. I'm never believing you again. Chloe screamed, her voice breaking. She shot him a look of pure hatred and heartbreak, then turned and ran back into the storm, disappearing into the rain. Ding! Chloe Miller's affinity for the host has decreased by 30 points. Current affinity, 70. Please continue your efforts. Chloe. Leo ignored the system's alert, about to chase after her, but Lily grabbed him from behind, her arms wrapping around his waist like a vice. Don't go, please, she begged, her face pressed against his back, tears streaming down her cheeks, matching the betrayal she also felt. I won't blame you, I promise. Just stay with me. We can pretend none of this ever happened, okay? Catastrophic confrontation detected. The host is facing an impossible choice. The system will provide the following potential outcomes. 1. Break free from Lily Reed and pursue Chloe Miller. There's a 25% chance of winning Chloe back, but a 70% chance of causing Lily's affinity to drop by 50, and a 10% chance of harming the fetus. 2. Embrace Lily Reed and abandon the pursuit of Chloe Miller. There's a 100% chance of placating Lily, but a 70% chance of losing Chloe forever. 3. Temporarily soothe Lily Reed, then pursue Chloe Miller. There's a 10% chance of placating Lily and a 15% chance of winning Chloe back. However, the prolonged wait will cause Lily to fall into endless suspicion and doubt, with a 30% chance of harming the fetus. The system's analysis calmed Leo down. The part about his departure potentially harming Lily's baby was the deciding factor. He made the heart-wrenching decision and closed the front door. I'm sorry. He knew Lily was the easiest of his girlfriends to appease. He had a million sweet things he could say to her, but all that came out were those two hollow words. He was too ashamed to use his usual lines on her now. I don't blame you. Lily held him tighter, her tear-streaked face turned up to his. Can we just pretend none of this ever happened? Just stay with me. After the baby is born, we can move somewhere else, okay? Okay, I'll stay with you, Leo promised softly, then added silently in his heart. I'm sorry. I want all of you to stay with me. Part 2. Mandatory separators. Pregnant women are prone to exhaustion, and after a small meal, Lily Reed went back to the bedroom to lie down early. Her emotions were unstable, and with her large belly, Leo didn't dare leave her alone in the Willow Creek house, no matter how anxious he was about Chloe's whereabouts. He tucked the covers around Lily, staring out the window at the rain that was falling harder and harder, and sighed in frustration. Everything that had happened today had been too sudden. He still hadn't fully processed it. The tense, terrifying feeling of the two women confronting each other was still a weight on his chest. He wondered when Chloe had found out about him and Lily, and more importantly, how she had found his villa with such accuracy. If Lily hadn't been pregnant, Leo thought there might have been a chance to fix things. But Chloe had seen Lily with her swollen belly that afternoon. It was a scene straight out of a trashy soap opera. No woman could forgive that, could she? It was no wonder Chloe's affinity for him had plummeted by 30 points in an instant. At first, Leo had suspected that brat Sophie had snitched on him. But on second thought, as clingy as Sophie was, she wouldn't do something so mutually destructive. Besides, nothing had happened recently to provoke her. Racking his brain, he realized he didn't have many enemies. The only possibility was that the paparazzi covering his career had found Chloe and secretly told her about his relationship with Lily. But that didn't fit their usual MO. Most tabloids would contact the celebrity first, either to negotiate or to issue a veiled threat. To protect their careers and public image, most stars would pay a hefty sum to buy the photos or videos. Leo, however, had never received any such message or notification. That meant whoever was behind this wasn't after money. They just wanted to destroy his life. Once Lily was sound asleep, Leo eagerly sent a text to Chloe, but it was immediately rejected with a red exclamation mark. She had blocked him. Of course she had. It was what he'd expected. It probably wasn't just his number. She had likely blocked and deleted him on every platform. Just then, a message from Maya popped up on his phone, accompanied by an image. Maya, holy crap, Dad, what did you do? Leo opened the picture. It was a selfie of Maya, a stark red handprint clearly visible on her cheek. Offline mode. Did Chloe do that? Maya underscored it, yep. She came back, didn't say a word, just slapped me, then started crying and packing her bags to go home. Offline mode, I'm sorry. Maya underscored good. What are you sorry for? It didn't even hurt that much. You need to find a way to fix this with her. Don't let me take a slap for nothing. Offline mode, that might be tough this time. After Leo explained what had happened, he saw the typing bubble on Maya's end for a long time. Finally, she just sent a string of ellipses. She was probably speechless with shock. They both knew Chloe's temper. Finding out that Leo had been deceiving her for so long, dating her and Lily at the same time, and even having a child with her. Giving her accomplice Maya a single slap was, frankly, an act of incredible restraint. Maya, Dad, I almost forgot. This morning, some guy came up to me. He showed me a video and told me to use it to expose you to Chloe. I was going to tell her about it when I got back, but she'd already grabbed an umbrella and gone looking for you. Video 3:15. Leo's eyes widened as he tapped on the video Maya sent. He froze. It was security footage from Willow Creek Estates. Illegally distributing someone's private information was a serious offense. A luxury community like Willow Creek had top-tier security. How could they possibly sell footage like this to the paparazzi? But if someone with influence had intervened, then it was a different story, and that person would have to have considerable power and connections in Portland. As he finished the video, Leo looked out at the storm, feeling like an enemy was closing in. A terrifying suspicion began to form in his mind. He immediately found his chat with Eleanor Hayes and sent a deliberately obscene, filthy message. He waited a few minutes. A reply came from the wealthy heiress. Eleanor, what's wrong with you? Why are you cursing at me all of a sudden? Confused emoji. So it's really not her. Seeing the completely out-of-character response, Leo was almost certain. Eleanor's parents had to have confiscated her phone. Otherwise, the message he'd sent would have been enough to get Eleanor excited for several minutes straight. Leo put down his phone, his emotions a tangled mess, and tried to figure out his next move. He had found the culprits. Not only were they the wealthiest family in Portland, but they were also the last people he would have expected to betray him. If Eleanor knew what her parents were up to, using her phone to talk to him, she would have thrown a fit. Which meant that for Harrison and Catherine Hayes to do this, Eleanor had to at least know about it, or have tacitly approved. Maybe she had never even left the country. Maybe she was in this very same gated community right now. The thought made Leo's despair deepen. He used to count on Eleanor to help him navigate his disaster zones. Now, not only was she not helping, she was actively letting her parents detonate one. The number of girlfriends he had to deal with had just gone from 2 to 3. The only thing Leo couldn't figure out was why Eleanor would agree to her parents' plan to go against him. From her kinky hobbies to her previous promises, she had never shown any intention of competing with his other girlfriends. After thinking for a long time, Leo decided to call their bluff. Leo, ma'am, I know it's you using Eleanor's phone. The way she talks to me is never this formal. I want to ask if something has happened to her. Why do you need to use her phone to talk to me? After he sent the message, it was like a stone dropped into the ocean. There was no reply for a long time. Just when he thought they were going to ignore him, the chat window flickered. They were apparently done with the charade. Eleanor's phone. We're at our house in Willow Creek. Find some time to come over. It's too complicated to explain right now. Leo, okay. Sensing that things were not as simple as he'd imagined, Leo agreed. At the same time, he sent a message to his mom, Sharon. Offline mode. Mom, are you free right now? Old lady, just got off work. Still have to cook for those 2 brats. What do you want? Offline mode. Lily's pregnant. I was hoping you could come over and take care of her for a while. Old lady. The next day, around 4 in the morning, long before the sun was up, Sharon sped into Willow Creek Estates. With her were Riley and Sophie, both carrying bulging backpacks. Seeing his mother's determined expression, Leo rubbed his nose guiltily. Mom, why are you here so early? Did you eat on the way? Look at the mess you've made. Seeing Leo's sheepish grin, Sharon raised her hand and smacked him on the back of the head, her anger flaring. Are you a child? Did you even think about the consequences before you did all this? Leo didn't talk back, just stood at attention and took the scolding. Any parent would have a headache over what he'd done. Mom, Lily's still sleeping upstairs, Sophie whispered, seeing Leo getting an earful. Pregnant women need a lot of rest. On the way over, Sharon had told the girls about Lily's pregnancy, but they didn't know that the disaster zone Leo had been dreading had finally erupted yesterday. The reminder brought Sharon back to her senses. She shot a cautious glance at the spiral staircase, then glared at Leo again. You brat, I'll deal with you after Lily wakes up. Sharon led the girls inside and had them empty their backpacks. They were filled with nutritional supplements and expensive herbs, all beneficial for pregnant women. After figuring out how to use the kitchen appliances, Sharon tied on an apron and got busy. When she'd heard about Lily's pregnancy yesterday, Sharon had been shocked and worried, but also felt a flicker of inexplicable joy. She had always been fond of the girl from the countryside, and now that Lily was carrying her grandchild, she couldn't help but feel happy. But the infuriating actions of her overachieving adopted son meant she couldn't simply accept that joy. The only thing she could do was make some nourishing food for the poor girl, as a sort of penance for her son's sins. Watching his mother bustle around, Leo asked tentatively, Mom, did Chloe say anything to you yesterday? No. Sharon wasn't in the mood to talk to him. She answered without turning around, her expression impatient. She still didn't know that Chloe and Lily had met. Leo thought it over and decided he had to come clean about yesterday's confrontation. The secret was out. There was no point in hiding it anymore. Chloe came to the villa yesterday. As his two sisters stared in disbelief, Leo spoke each word carefully. I don't know who tipped her off, but she found me. And she saw Lily. Pregnant. She left crying and said she wanted to break up with me. What? This time, Sharon couldn't hold back. Her voice shot up several decibels as she spun around, her eyes wide with shock. You mean, Chloe knows everything you've been doing? Leo swallowed hard. Yeah. Sharon slammed the kitchen knife down, her eyes darting around. She grabbed a rice spoon and charged out of the kitchen. I'm going to kill you. You brat, get over here. Mom. Lily's still sleeping upstairs. The sisters quickly got up and blocked her path. You two deadbeats. He's not your real brother. Why are you protecting him? In her rage, Sharon's words were sharp enough to cut. Even if he was your real brother, after doing something so despicable, if I don't teach him a lesson, people will think he just sprouted from the ground, fully grown. Mom, what's done is done. There's no point in talking about it now, Sophie said, trying a different tack to calm her down. Anyway, Lily's pregnant, and Chloe is breaking up with him. Isn't that perfect? He could just have a shotgun wedding. You won't have to worry about him anymore, right? You've always liked Lily. Every word Sophie said struck a chord deep inside Sharon. It was exactly what she had been thinking, but her guilt over Chloe had kept her from saying it out loud. I do like Lily, but Chloe has been with your brother for so long. Why should she be the one cast aside? Sharon was still indignant and fuming. Chloe is such a wonderful girl, and she had the misfortune of meeting a philanderer like your brother. Leo was about to say something when a text arrived from Eleanor's account. He opened his phone and saw a shared location pin. The address was Portland General Hospital. At first, he thought the heiress had some terminal illness, and that was why she'd orchestrated all of this. But the message below it made him suck in a sharp breath. Eleanor, Leo, I'm pregnant. I'm sorry I hid it from you for so long. BZZT. The message hit him like a thunderclap. The world around him seemed to go silent. Even his mother's yelling faded into a faint buzz. No wonder Eleanor had done all this, pushing him into a corner. Her plan must have been to ruin his life, so she could swoop in at the end and have her own shotgun wedding with him. After absorbing the news, Leo took a deep breath and typed a reply. Leo, I'm the one who should be sorry. I'm on my way. He put his phone away and looked at his mother, whose face was red with anger. He didn't dare tell her that Eleanor was also pregnant. He was afraid the old woman would pass out on the spot. Mom, it's all my fault. I'm sorry I'm scum. I have to go out for a bit. Please take care of Lily. I'll be back tonight. After a quick apology, Leo grabbed his wallet and car keys and bolted out the door, hearing only Riley's voice calling after him. Leo, it's pouring out there. Drive carefully. As Riley had said, the rain was relentless. It was around 6 in the morning, and the sky was dark and oppressively heavy. The drizzle had intensified, turning into fat drops that lashed against the city. Damn it, what am I going to do? Leo sped his Mercedes over the bridge, watching the wipers struggle against the downpour. His heart was racing, his mind a frantic mess. Events had spun completely out of his control. He hadn't even figured out a way to win Chloe back, and now the heiress was pregnant too, and probably had been for more than a month or two. He couldn't come up with a single viable plan. Helpless, he pinned his hopes on the one thing that had always had an answer. System, aren't you supposed to help me with these problems? My entire world is on fire right now. Give me some advice. Perhaps the problem was too far outside its parameters. It was a long time before the system's mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Solution provided for host. This is the only available solution. He waited, but the system went silent. Well, what's the solution? Hurry up, Leo urged impatiently. Just then, he faintly heard the screech of tires behind him. He glanced in the rearview mirror and saw an 18-wheeler, loaded with cargo, swerving wildly as it hurtled toward him from behind. Shit, a semi. Leo snapped back to reality. He gripped the steering wheel, trying to swerve out of the way of the out-of-control truck, but the wheel was suddenly locked. The gas and brake pedals were unresponsive. I'm screwed. With a deafening crash, his head plunged into the deploying airbag. He vaguely heard the blare of countless horns and the roaring of the rain, and then nothing. Lily woke up around noon. Seeing the empty space beside her, she sat up in bed, instantly tense. Leo, are you downstairs? Leo had to go out. Sharon came in, carrying a bowl of freshly made broth. Looking at the poor, vulnerable girl on the bed, she silently cursed her good-for-nothing son before forcing a comforting smile. Don't you worry. He promised me he'd be back tonight. Here, drink this. It's good for you and the baby. Oh, Auntie. Hearing that Leo was out, Lily's mind flashed to the image of Chloe leaving in tears. She was sure he had gone after Chloe, and the tears started to flow. Is he going to leave me? Oh, don't cry, don't cry. Of course not. He wouldn't dare. Seeing Lily so heartbroken, Sharon felt a pang in her chest, as if her own heart was being squeezed. She promised solemnly, I give you my word, he will never abandon you or the baby. She stayed in the room for a long time, finally coaxing Lily into finishing the broth. MOM. Suddenly, a piercing scream came from downstairs. A moment later, a frantic pounding of footsteps ascended the stairs, and Riley ran into the room, sobbing. You brat, are you looking for spanking? Sharon shot Riley a harsh look, thinking about how she'd just managed to calm her daughter-in-law down. But Riley didn't say anything. She just tearfully handed her phone to Sharon. Sharon took the phone. As she listened to the voice on the other end, someone who claimed to be a first responder, the color drained from her face. She looked at Riley, her voice trembling. Is this real? There are so many scammers these days. It's real, Mom. Dad is already on his way there. All the TikToks are. Riley started to explain, but stopped when she noticed the crestfallen Lily behind her mother. She quickly shut her mouth. This was not something Lily could handle right now. How could this happen? Sharon murmured, looking lost. It was as if all the energy had been sucked out of her in an instant. She stumbled, nearly falling, but Riley was quick to catch her. Sharon's eyes were red as she asked, Where's your sister? Sophie ran out just now, Riley said through her tears. I texted her, but she hasn't replied. Lily finally noticed the strange atmosphere between the mother and daughter. Auntie, she asked tentatively, did something happen? Her voice seemed to bring Sharon back to her senses. She quickly composed her expression and forced a smile. It's nothing. Just something came up at home that I need to take care of. Lily nodded blankly. Okay, then you should go. You said Leo will be back tonight. I'll be fine on my own. All right. Riley, you stay here and take care of your sister Lily, Sharon said, leaning on her daughter's shoulder and adding pointedly. While she's pregnant, don't let her look at her phone. You understand? The radiation is bad for her. Just talk to her. Okay, I know. Riley nodded tearfully. She understood what her mother was really saying. Don't let Lily find out what happened to Leo. Okay, I'm leaving now. I'll come see you when I have time. Sharon left the room, her steps unsteady. The two girls left behind could hear her hurried, frantic footsteps fading away as she wiped her tears. At the waterfront spire, Don Miller, just home from work, was kicking off his shoes at the door. He held a box with a chocolate cake and a bag of candied nuts he'd bought from a vendor near the complex. How is she? He asked Carla, looking toward their daughter's room. Chloe had come home crying yesterday, soaked to the bone. Despite her obsession with cleanliness, she hadn't even showered, just burrowed under her covers and cried all night. In the middle of the night, they could still hear her muffled sobs from the next room. As experienced parents, they guessed it had something to do with Leo. But this time, Chloe's grief was too profound. They had sat on her bed and asked her for ages, but she wouldn't say a word, just kept crying. This afternoon, Don had even tried calling Leo to find out what was going on between the two of them. But Leo hadn't answered his phone or replied to his texts. He hadn't heard anything from David Shepard either. Sigh. She woke up crying this morning. Won't talk. Just hugs me and cries, Carla said, her face etched with worry. This didn't feel like a typical fight. After dinner, I'll drive over to Leo's place and see what's going on, Don said. He agreed that this was serious. It was probably something they couldn't resolve on their own. They needed an adult to mediate. His daughter adored Leo, and Don's impression of the young man was excellent. He had long since started thinking of Leo as his own son-in-law. He wouldn't let their relationship fall apart over some solvable problem. Just as Don set down the cake and nuts, the doorbell rang, followed by a series of urgent knocks. That's probably the boy, here to apologize, Don said with a relieved smile as he went to open the door. But it wasn't Leo, standing there. It was Maya Pierce, sobbing uncontrollably. Maya, what are you doing here? Don looked down the hallway, confirming she was alone. He noticed a faint handprint on her cheek. Did your father hit you again? He asked instinctively. Maya's voice was choked with sobs. She wiped her tears as she looked at Don. No, that's not it, Uncle. It's an emergency. Is Chloe home? She's in her room. Maya, I thought you were living with Chloe and Leo. Did they? Before Don could finish, Maya rushed past him without even taking off her shoes. Her footsteps slapped against the floor as she ran to Chloe's door, pounding on it while she cried out. Chloe, open the door. Something's happened to Leo. What? Don and Carla exclaimed in unison. Don immediately followed her, demanding, Maya, what's wrong with Leo? He was in a car crash. Maya cried, pulling out her phone and playing a video. The clip was from a traffic cam on the overpass. It clearly showed an out-of-control semi-truck rear-ending a BMW M8, pushing it for dozens of yards. In yesterday's heavy rain, the BMW also seemed to lose control, spinning several times before smashing into the bridge's guardrail. Car crash videos were a daily occurrence, but this one involved a currently popular director. From the moment it happened, every social media platform had been flooded with clips of Leo's accident, and the topic was trending. Some on-site videos were even more horrifying, showing shattered windshield glass scattered everywhere, and Leo, unconscious in the driver's seat, being pulled from the wreck by rescue workers and rushed for emergency treatment. "Oh my God, how could this happen?" Carla wrung her hands, her voice filled with panic. "How is he now? Which hospital is he in?" I don't know," Maya stammered, shaking her head. She turned back to the door, pounding on it with all her might. "Chloe, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Please, just open the door." In a situation like this, only Leo's family or employees would know his condition or which hospital he was at. That's why Maya had rushed over here the moment she saw the videos, hoping Chloe's family could help contact them. With a creak, the bedroom door finally opened. Before anyone outside could say a word, Chloe's raw, hoarse voice cut through the air. "Dad, get the car." When Chloe and her family arrived at the hospital, the ICU room was already crowded. Besides 2 medical staff in white coats, it was filled with people. The moment he heard about the crash, Connor Sterling had rushed over with Vivian and their daughter, Cassandra. Sophie had just arrived from the Willow Creek villa, soaked to the bone, her pant legs splattered with mud, a testament to her frantic journey. Sharon, who had just arrived herself, sat by the hospital bed, her eyes red from crying, muttering complaints about the unconscious Leo driving too fast. Connor Sterling and David Shepard stood nearby, silent, their faces etched with a complex mix of anxiety and gravity. Chloe's gaze fell on the man in the bed. Leo was covered in blood-soaked bandages, one leg suspended in the air. His head was wrapped so thoroughly he looked like a mummy, only his eyes and mouth visible, his breathing shallow. "Auntie, how is he?" On the way over, Chloe had half believed this was another one of Leo's elaborate schemes to win her back. But seeing him so gravely injured, the hatred and resentment in her heart began to dissipate. Seeing that the white sheet hadn't been pulled over Leo's head, Carla let out a small sigh of relief, but still asked anxiously, "Yes, Sharon, how is he?" Sharon was still lost in grief, but seeing Chloe and her mother, she was struck by what her son had done and became tense and guilty. "You must be family as well," the doctor said, seeing Sharon struggle for words. He assumed she was too overcome with grief to speak and turned to Chloe's group with an admiring tone. "Leo is currently out of immediate danger," he repeated. "Frankly, with a crash that severe, his car was completely deformed. Most people wouldn't have made it. He's incredibly lucky." Maya, who had been silent for a long time, couldn't help but ask, "So you mean he's not going to die, right?" "Correct. For now, his life is not in danger." However, in addition to a fractured femur, Leo sustained a significant head trauma. "We can't rule out a concussion or amnesia. He'll need to rest quietly for a period before we can check for other potential issues." Chloe was taken aback. "Amnesia?" "Yes. Although the airbag provided a significant cushion during the impact, the force was too great. The frontal lobe of his brain sustained the most impact, which is where we store memories. A severe blow like that can cause short-term or long-term memory loss. The condition is known as traumatic memory disorder. After his serious professional explanation, the doctor added reassuringly, "In short, some memory loss is almost certain. We'll have to see how Leo recovers on his own." At that moment, Connor Sterling, who had been silent, finally spoke. "In that case, is it possible my son will wake up and have completely forgotten his past?" The doctor nodded. "It's not impossible. I've had many patients in similar situations. Long-term or even permanent amnesia is not uncommon." "I see," Connor murmured thoughtfully, exchanging a subtle glance with Vivian. "Well, in that case, I'll arrange for Leo's transfer this afternoon. We'll take him to Florida for treatment. An old friend of mine is the head of a hospital there that specializes in head trauma." "You will not." Sophie, ever sharp, immediately understood their scheme. Her eyes were red as she warned them. "Don't think I don't know what you're planning. You're not taking my brother." "Sophie, how dare you speak to your uncle like that?" David, who had also caught on to their plan, first reprimanded his daughter, then stepped in. "Connor, Leo isn't stable enough to be moved. Florida is too far. What if something happens on the way?" "He's right. Leo was just settled in. There's no need for such a major upheaval, Sharon added. She hadn't initially grasped their intentions, but after hearing David, she realized at once that they were trying to take Leo away for good. If he woke up with amnesia, it would be like they were raising a brand new son who remembered nothing. If they then cut off all contact with the Shepherds and moved abroad, they might never see Leo again. The hospital director, who had been observing the situation, also chimed in. Mr. Sterling, Leo was admitted only a short time ago. His condition is still very fragile. I would also recommend that he convalesce here at our hospital for the time being. Given the emergency and the fact that the accident happened near his hospital, they had been the first on the scene. Plus, with Leo's fame, TikTok was already blowing up with news of the crash. The director wasn't about to let such a high-profile, attention-grabbing patient just walk away. If the doctor says so, then we won't transfer him, Connor said with a smile, though he was clearly disappointed. He took Vivian's arm. Vivian and I will go buy some things for him. Let me know immediately if there are any changes. After they left, Carla sat next to Sharon and comforted her softly. Sharon, don't be so heartbroken. The doctor said he's going to be okay. He'll be fine after he wakes up and recovers for a while. Carla, I'm so sorry. Thinking of the pregnant girl back at Willow Creek, and of everything her son had done, Sharon stammered, wanting to confess everything. It felt hopeless, but with Lily pregnant, the right thing to do was to cut ties with Chloe. Sorry for what? Carla blinked, confused. Auntie. Maya suddenly pointed at Leo's hand. Leo just moved. Is he waking up? What? Everyone crowded around the bed, their eyes fixed on Leo. Only Chloe looked coldly at Maya, whose expression was a little too forced. She knew exactly what her cunning friend was up to. He didn't move, Carla said after staring for a long time. Leo was still, his breathing shallow. Oh, he didn't. Maya scratched her head sheepishly. Hey, I guess I saw wrong. You and your dramatics, Carla said, rolling her eyes at Maya. Dad, Mom, you guys should go home, Chloe said, sitting down by Leo's bed. She looked at his pale face and gently adjusted his blanket, her voice hoarse. Uncle, Auntie, and I will be here. All right then. Call me if anything happens. Dawn wanted to ask more, but Carla, sensing that her daughter had her own reasons for wanting to stay, pulled her husband out of the ICU. After they left, Sharon turned to Chloe, her eyes red with guilt. My dear, Leo and I have both wronged you. It's my fault. I didn't raise that boy right, and he broke your heart. Annie, I don't want to talk about that right now. Chloe gently shook her head, her gaze never leaving the man on the bed. Her expression was a storm of conflicting emotions. Seeing this, Sharon didn't know what else to say. She looked pleadingly at David. He saw Chloe's state, a grief that had gone beyond tears, and knew she wouldn't hear a word anyone said right now. He shook his head slightly, signaling his wife not to bring up the past and agitate her further. And so, a heavy silence fell over the ICU, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the machines by the bed. Outside, the sky grew dark again, and a cold, drizzling rain began to fall. Night fell. Back at the Willow Creek Villa, Lily stared out at the dark, oppressive sky, her head bowed low. Riley, she murmured, her voice thick with unshed tears, be honest with me. Did Leo go to find Chloe? Riley had just gotten an update from Sharon about Leo's condition. Relieved, she quickly explained, no, of course not. My brother just had something come up. He won't be able to come back for a little while. Lily, already emotionally fragile, heard that Leo wouldn't be home tonight, and her sensitive, suspicious mind spiraled. She clenched her fists on her knees and began to sob. Oh, don't cry. Riley rushed to her side, terrified that her emotional state would affect the baby. Seeing no other choice, she decided to tell her the truth. It's not that my brother doesn't want to come back. He was in a car accident. He's in a hospital right now. Lily's tears stopped abruptly. She looked up at her young sister-in-law in disbelief. What happened? It happened today, but the doctor said it's nothing serious. He just hit his head and is unconscious. He'll be back to normal after a few days' rest. Riley showed her the crash videos and her chat history with Sharon, quickly explaining Leo's condition, terrified that if she spoke too slowly, Lily would think the worst. Riley knew she couldn't hide this from Lily forever. If Leo didn't come home, Lily would cry herself sick every day, and that would be terrible for the baby. I need to see him. After processing the sudden, terrible news, Lily clutched her back and tried to stand up from the sofa. Lily, my parents are at the hospital, Riley said, rushing to support her. You don't need to go. Besides, in your condition, they just end up having to take care of you too. But, Lily was frantic. As if on cue, a video message from Sharon arrived, as if she knew her daughter couldn't keep a secret. The video only showed Leo in the hospital bed, and Sharon's calm, reassuring voice could be heard. Don't worry, Leo just has some superficial injuries. The doctor said he'll be fine with some rest. That boy is tough as nails. It'll take more than this to kill him. I'll be back as soon as I'm done here. See? I told you. My brother just has some scrapes and bruises, Riley said, patiently soothing her. So you should just rest at home. He'll be back as soon as he's recovered. Sharon's casual tone helped Lily relax a bit, but she was still skeptical. But he looks seriously hurt. Are you sure it's nothing major? Please, think about who my brother is now. Even if it was a paper cut, the hospital would treat it like a major surgery, right? Stop overthinking it. He'll be back before you know it, Riley said, spinning a plausible tale as she helped Lily upstairs. Come on, let me help you to bed. Even if you don't want to sleep, the baby needs to. If anything happened to the baby, my brother would be heartbroken. Lily was still hesitant, but the thought of her child convinced her. She allowed Riley to help her upstairs to rest. Midnight, at Portland General Hospital, Eleanor Hayes sat propped up in a hospital bed, staring blankly at the door to the ICU. She had been like this all day. As the hours passed, and the person she was waiting for never appeared, her expression began to crumble. Tears fell one by one onto her legs. Her mother, Catherine Hayes, who was keeping watch, hurried to comfort her. My dear, don't cry. Think of the baby. He must hate me, Eleanor whispered, covering her face as she thought of all the evidence she had provided against him in the past few days. No, he probably just got busy with something, Catherine said, not knowing what else to say. She looked helplessly at her husband, Harrison. They had found out about Leo's accident as soon as it happened, and Harrison had immediately sent people to get the latest information. According to his subordinates, Leo had suffered a severe blow to the head and was at risk of amnesia or concussion. Leo was on his way here, Harrison said, taking a breath. He finally told her the truth. But he was in a car accident on the way. He's been taken to the hospital. He's still unconscious, but the doctor said his life isn't in danger. Eleanor's eyes widened, and her delicate face filled with a sudden rage. Damn it, was it? I didn't have anything to do with it. Harrison seemed to guess what she was about to say and cut her off. It happened this morning. I was at home with you the entire time. Harrison's thinking was similar to Riley's. They couldn't hide this from Eleanor forever. If Leo didn't show up, her despair would only worsen, which would be bad for the baby. Eleanor thought about it and realized he was right. She threw back the covers and, holding her back, tried to get out of bed. Which hospital? I want to see him. Ugh, it hurts. Meanwhile, in the ICU, Leo felt a searing thirst in his throat and a pounding in his head. He weakly opened his eyes, vaguely aware of people around him. Water. I need water. Chloe, who had been dozing with her head on the side of the bed, heard his voice. She groggily lifted her head and saw Leo pointing at the water cooler, whispering for water. You're awake? All sleepiness vanished from Chloe instantly. She hurried to get a cup of water and carefully held it to Leo's chapped lips. After drinking, Leo let out a soft sigh, his voice raspy. Thank you. Who are you? Chloe froze, the cup still in her hand. She stared at Leo in disbelief. The doctor was right. He really had lost his memory. Before Chloe could say anything, Maya, who had been watching from the sidelines, rushed over and sat down excitedly next to Leo. Honey, you're awake. How do you feel? My head hurts, Leo mumbled, squinting at the emotional girl in front of him. And who are you? You don't remember? Maya introduced herself without a hint of hesitation. I'm your girlfriend, Maya Pierce. What are you talking about? Chloe instinctively smacked Maya on the arm. Then, as if catching herself, added with forced composure, he's delirious right now. Why would you say that? Well, you were planning on dumping him, weren't you? Maya retorted, rubbing her head. That makes Leo a free agent, more or less. Is it so wrong for me to make a move? When did I? Chloe started to argue, but a wave of suspicion washed over her. She shot a wary glance at the weak man in the bed, then said with an air of indifference, do whatever you want. A player and a slut. You two are a perfect match. You should tie the knot and save the rest of us from your toxicity. With that, Chloe tossed the paper cup into the trash and walked away from the bed with a look of disdain. You say one thing, but mean another, Maya muttered at Chloe's retreating back, then turned her attention back to Leo's exhausted face. How are you feeling now? Does anywhere else hurt? Ugh, my head and my legs still hurt a bit. Leo groaned, clutching his head. He looked at the beautiful girl before him, confused. Are you really my girlfriend? So he really has amnesia, Maya thought to herself, finding his bewilderment fascinating. Right? There's no way he could fake it after a crash like that. Of course I am. We've been together for almost 3 years, Maya explained without hesitation. Your name is Leo Shepard. I'm Maya Pierce. You were in a car accident yesterday afternoon. The doctor said you suffered a major head injury and might have long-term memory loss. For Maya, it didn't really matter what Leo became, though deep down, she still hoped they could go back to the happy life the three of them had shared before. But if Chloe was truly unwilling to forgive him, Maya wouldn't force it. Instead, she would happily take Chloe's place. I can't remember. Leo squinted, trying to recall any history with Maya, but all it brought was a dull, throbbing headache, with only a few fragmented memories flickering in his mind. Maya quickly stood up and gently massaged his temples. Okay, don't force it. The doctor said this kind of thing has to come back slowly. Leo, brother. Just then, Sharon, Connor, and the others burst into the room with the doctor, a whirlwind of anxious energy. His two sisters were the first to reach the bed, their faces full of concern as they looked at the bewildered Leo. Chloe trailed behind the group, her expression a complicated mix as she gazed at the man on the bed, the man she loved and hated in equal measure. Leo, how are you? Brother, does anywhere else hurt? Do you want something to eat? Leo looked at the two beautiful faces sitting on either side of his bed, then scanned the other familiar yet unfamiliar faces around him. He gave a troubled smile. I'm sorry. My girlfriend, Maya, said I was in a car accident and hit my head, so I have amnesia. Who are you all? Girlfriend? Everyone echoed, their gazes shifting in unison to the awkward Maya, then back to Chloe, who was standing at the edge of the crowd. Ha, I was just joking with him. Maya laughed, scratching her head sheepishly. She put a safe distance between herself and Leo and pointed at the conflicted Chloe. That's your girlfriend. I'm just her best friend. Leo blinked in confusion. If Maya wasn't his girlfriend, then her earlier behavior seemed to cross a few lines for a girlfriend's best friend. How are you feeling? Under the expectant and sympathetic gazes of everyone in the room, Chloe finally stepped forward and asked with concern. Thanks, I'm much better. Leo looked up, studying the slightly haggard face of the girl before him. A few dreamlike images flickered through his mind, and he instinctively called out, Chloe? The unexpectedly intimate address caused Chloe to flash back to all the sweet memories she had with Leo. Her nose tingled, and her eyes welled up with tears. She shot a look at Maya and warned her, Don't think I don't know you told him. I didn't say anything. He remembered on his own, Maya said, feeling wronged. She turned to the doctor. Doctor, what's going on? Didn't you say he had amnesia? This is quite normal. An amnesia patient hasn't lost their memories entirely. If the part of the brain responsible for storage receives a certain stimulus, there's a chance they can recall things they consider important, the doctor explained seriously. So, in the future, besides medication, you can take the patient to places he frequented or have him see people he considers especially important. This can be very helpful for memory recovery. Especially important people. Chloe's gaze shifted from the doctor back to Leo. She saw that he was still looking at her intently. But then she remembered how he had deceived her, how he had been with so many other women, how he even had a child with Lily. The scene in front of the villa still made her feel sick with anger and hurt. Since you're awake, you should rest and get better. I'm leaving. Chloe didn't want to dwell on the painful memories. She said her goodbyes, her eyes red, and turned to walk out, wiping away her tears. Watching Chloe's resolute back, Leo felt an unprecedented wave of panic. Even though his memory hadn't returned, some deep instinct told him that if Chloe walked out that door now, he would never be able to win her back. My head hurts so much. Leo clutched his head, groaning in pain, a cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. Leo, what's wrong? Doctor, what's happening to my brother? The group rushed to his side. Chloe immediately turned back and sat by him. Using her sleeve to wipe the sweat from his face, her voice filled with heartache. What's happening? Should we get the doctor to give you some painkillers? I don't know. I just started thinking about a lot of things related to you, and suddenly my head started to hurt, Leo said, panting. The memories are blurry, and there's so much I can't remember, but I have this feeling that if you leave right now, the day I get my memory back, I'll regret it more than anything. Leo took Chloe's hand, his grip firm as he pleaded, Chloe, can you please stay by my side? But, thinking of the woman with the large belly, Chloe lowered her head. Tears dripped onto the bedsheets as she asked in a choked voice, In what capacity should I stay by your side? What do you mean? Leo blinked, completely bewildered. Aren't you my girlfriend? We'll talk about these things after you're better. With so many people around, and Chloe clearly in no state to be agitated further, Connor forcibly changed the subject. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere else? Let the doctor take a look. Yes, son. Do you feel any other pain? Vivian chimed in, sitting down next to Leo, her voice full of concern. Besides my head and my leg hurting a bit, there's nothing else major. Leo shook his head dismissively. He looked at the two girls and Vivian, who were staring at him intently. Excuse me, but who are you? Sophie and Cassandra exchanged a wary glance, a flicker of competition in their eyes, before blurting out in unison. Leo, I'm your sister. Brother, I'm your real sister. Huh? Leo squinted, trying to search the fragmented memories in his mind. He looked tentatively at Vivian. You call me son just now, so you're my mom. Vivian had felt a pang of guilt at the thought of taking advantage of Leo's amnesia to claim her role as his mother. But she knew if she didn't seize this chance, her son might never come back to her. She nodded firmly. Yes, son, I'm your mom. Actually, all right, Vivian, our son just woke up. He hasn't recovered yet. Let's not overstimulate him. Just as Sharon started to speak, Connor, seeming determined to cement his wife's claim, cleared his throat. At the signal, the hospital director, who had been watching the drama unfold, finally spoke up. That's right. Leo has just regained consciousness and needs to rest. I must ask everyone to please step out for now. You can visit him again once he has recovered a bit more. David, Sharon said urgently, looking at her husband. She knew the director had been bought by Connor. She couldn't let them just steal her son away like this. It's getting late. Let's go home for now. We'll come back in the morning, David said. He knew exactly what Connor and Vivian were up to, but Leo did need a rest. For now, they had no choice but to leave with his wife. Brother, Sophie held Leo's hand, her eyes red as she looked at him for a long moment before reluctantly saying, Get some rest. My sister and I will come see you in the morning. Oh, other than Chloe, Leo had no impression of anyone in the room. He just nodded blankly, watching Sophie walk away, turning back every few steps. Chloe studied Leo for a moment, then said with a complex expression, I'm leaving too. You should sleep. Wait, Leo called out to her, asking worriedly, Will you come back tomorrow? Chloe paused at the door, her eyes red as she challenged him. What if I don't? Then, Leo couldn't remember how he had made his girlfriend so heartbroken, but after a brief pause, he answered instinctively, I don't know what I did to make you so angry, but I still hope you'll come. Chloe looked at the dumbfounded Leo, then at her slutty best friend standing beside him. The thought of them conspiring to deceive her made her say acidly, Humph, you won't die without me. With that, she left without a backward glance. Leo looked at Maya in confusion. What on earth did I do to make her so angry? Did I cheat on her or something? It's much more serious than that, Maya said. She figured it was too complicated to explain right now. After pouring him a glass of hot water, she leaned in and whispered in his ear, All right, I'm going home too. I'll come see you in the morning. Daddy. Leo thought he had misheard. He blinked in disbelief. Huh? What did you call me? He by now, Maya gave a playful smile, leaving Leo with a suggestive glance before walking out of the room, a flower in full bloom. At that moment, Leo swallowed hard, a sense of foreboding washing over him. He had a feeling that, in his current situation, it was probably better if he never got his memory back at all. The next morning, the director came to check on Leo first thing. Besides the fractured leg and still fuzzy memory, he was surprised to find that Leo's vitality had recovered remarkably quickly. He didn't look like someone who had just walked back from the brink of death. Around 6, as the sky was just beginning to lighten, Chloe appeared at the door of the ICU, carrying a thermos of chicken soup. She was about to say something when she saw that Sophie was already there, spoon-feeding Leo soup from her own thermos. Riley sat beside them, showing Leo old photos and videos of them on her phone. A look of unexpected delight appeared in Leo's eyes. Chloe, you came? Don't get the wrong idea. I just came to see if you were dead yet. Chloe placed her thermos on the nearby table and said dismissively, Looks like you're already full. I'll just take this home and drink it myself. The faint, blurry memories in his mind reminded him that his girlfriend had a habit of saying the opposite of what she meant. He quickly smiled and said, No, I'm still hungry. Sophie, hurry, bring that over for me to drink. Oh. Sophie reluctantly opened Chloe's thermos and began spoon-feeding Leo. This is great, Leo praised with satisfaction. Even though I can't remember anything, I bet you did all the cooking when we were together. This is amazing. If he had praised her cooking skills before, Chloe's smile would have stretched from ear to ear, and she would have puffed out her chest proudly and said, Of course. But now, she just retorted coolly, Sorry to disappoint you. My mom made it. Faced with his girlfriend's cold shoulder, Leo didn't feel awkward at all. Then please thank your mom for me. Oomph, shameless, Chloe said, rolling her eyes. Are you done? If you are, give me back the thermos. I have to go. Leo was taken aback. You're not going to stay with me? Chloe's voice dripped with sarcasm. Ah, with a girl on each arm, why would you need me to stay? Mr. Shepard, these are the personal effects we collected from your vehicle after the accident. Just then, 2 police officers walked in. We have the driver of the truck that rear-ended you in custody. Once you've recovered, we'll begin a thorough investigation into the incident. Thank you, officers, Sophie said, accepting the items on Leo's behalf. After a brief inquiry into Leo's condition, the officers left his phone and some other belongings and departed. After plugging the phone into charge, Sophie realized it was password protected. Brother, what's the password? We can look at your old messages. Maybe you'll remember more. The password? Ugh. Leo thought for a moment, then looked at Chloe. Chloe, do you know? Chloe knew Leo's password. She had been the one to set it for him. But she just shrugged nonchalantly. It's your phone. How would I know? Leo pondered for a moment, then said thoughtfully, then try 24826. I think that's it. He remembers? Chloe was stunned. Sophie typed in the numbers Leo had said, and sure enough, the phone unlocked. How long are you going to keep lying to me? The password was the date they had made their relationship official on social media. A string of numbers whose meaning only the 2 of them knew. Chloe's own password was a combination of Leo's birthday and her own. To remember such a crucial piece of information after such a severe accident, Chloe was suddenly convinced that he wasn't suffering from amnesia at all. This was all an elaborate act he had cooked up with everyone to deceive her. Her eyes instantly reddened with anger, and she started to cry. Is this fun for you, Leo? Lying to me over and over again? What did I ever do to deserve being treated like this? Her sharp, tearful accusation left Leo bewildered. How did I lie to you? Just then, the doctor, who had come to do his rounds, saw Chloe's tear-streaked face and asked cautiously, Is everything all right? Were you paid off by him? Are you deliberately helping him with this act? Chloe was filled with a torrent of grief and resentment. Seeing the doctor at this critical moment, she immediately turned on him, her eyes red. You said he hit his head and has amnesia. So why, less than a day later, can he remember my name and his own phone password? Is your hospital's medical skill really that miraculous? Ma'am, please calm down. This is a very normal phenomenon. Director Shepard's current condition is similar to that of an elderly person with dementia. Although his memory is affected, it hasn't been erased, the doctor explained, not understanding what had happened between the young couple, but still addressing her question. To put it simply, his past memories are still stored in his brain. With the right external stimuli, there's a chance he can recall them. Certain deep-seated memories, especially those with strong emotional attachments, may still remain. The reason he can remember your name and the password is a good indication that those things were very important to him before his memory loss. The doctor's professional response made Chloe's tears stop in their tracks. A traitorous flutter of emotion stirred deep inside her. Leo thought there must be something on the phone that had upset her. He quickly tried to comfort her. I won't look at the phone then. Please don't cry. But his attempt at comfort only made Chloe cry harder. She crouched down by the bed, burying her face in her arms on the mattress and sobbing. She hated herself for still having feelings for this player, and she loathed the shameful flicker of joy she had felt just a moment ago. Chloe! Leo reached out to stroke her head, but she slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. Okay, I won't. Leo nodded repeatedly, but his complexion looked strange. Leo, what's wrong? Sophie noticed something was off and rushed over, dabbing at the cold sweat on his face with a tissue. I'm fine, Leo said, shaking his head. Chloe also noticed something odd about his voice. She looked up in surprise and saw that the color had drained from his face, leaving it pale. Sophie's eyes darted to Leo's bed, and then she realized with a jolt of horror that Chloe was leaning on his injured leg. Damn it, get off. You're putting pressure on my brother's leg. Sophie's face contorted with rage as she pulled Chloe up. She immediately called for the medical staff. Doctor, quickly look. I think the cast on my brother's leg is cracked. The doctor and nurse rushed over to inspect the situation. Sure enough, the cast on Leo's leg had a crack in it. Chloe's sudden collapse onto it had been more forceful than she realized. It's cracked. We need to schedule a surgery to reset the cast immediately. Within minutes, Leo was being wheeled out of the room and back into the operating room. Soon, the news reached Connor, David, and their wives, and they all rushed to the hospital. After learning what had happened, they all looked at Chloe with a mixture of helplessness and pity. It was such a ridiculously unfortunate accident that no one could really be blamed. Maya arrived at the hospital, her eyes red. Seeing everyone waiting anxiously outside the operating room, her heart sank. Where's Leo? How is he? He's still in surgery, Sharon replied, her voice filled with a complicated mix of emotions. While she worried for Leo, she couldn't help but wonder how he had managed to win over this wild, impulsive girl. Damn you! Sophie pointed a finger at Chloe's nose. Chloe, if anything happens to my brother, I will never forgive you. Sophie, what are you saying? Come here. Sharon quickly pulled her hot-tempered daughter aside and offered a word of comfort to Chloe. It's okay. Leo will be out in no time. Chloe stood there numbly, her expression blank as she stared at the glowing red in surgery sign. She seemed not to hear Sophie's accusations or Sharon's attempts to calm the situation. She was completely dazed. Fortunately, the crack was discovered in time. After a 2-hour surgery, Leo was safely wheeled out by the doctors, though the cast on his leg was now significantly larger. Back in his room, he had just been settled onto the bed when everyone crowded around him, showering him with words of care and concern. After briefly assuring them he was fine, he saw Chloe standing at the back of the group, her eyes red as she looked at him. He quickly smiled. It's okay, Chloe. Don't worry about it. The doctors were just being overly cautious. It was just a new cast. Chloe walked forward, wiping her tears, and apologized guiltily. I really didn't mean to. Hey, I told you it's fine. Why are you crying? Leo quickly took her hand to comfort her. This time, she didn't pull away, letting his hand hold hers tightly. As night fell, the relieved crowd gradually dispersed, leaving only Chloe and Maya to stay with Leo at the hospital. But a cold distance remained between Chloe and Leo. No matter how much Maya tried to liven things up, or how much Leo played along, Chloe's mood remained low. They were like the most familiar of strangers. This dynamic continued for about 2 weeks. Leo's injuries were mostly healed, but their relationship hadn't thawed. One night, Maya and Chloe were again in the hospital room with Leo. The hospital was quiet, and she had the boy she liked all to herself. So Maya had practically been living there, occasionally teasing the amnesiac and clueless Leo. After spending so much time together, Leo seemed to have remembered some things about the girl who called him daddy and was constantly touching him. He also recalled some of the unspeakable secrets between them, and their interactions slowly reverted to their old, kinky dynamic. But even so, Leo was certain that the real reason for Chloe's persistent coldness had nothing to do with this cuckoo who had taken over the nest. After all, Maya had flirted with him many times right in front of Chloe. It's getting late. I'm going home. Andy said she'd come by later to check on you. Around 11 p.m., Chloe put away her phone and stood up to leave. She was still trying to figure out how to deal with Leo and their relationship in the future. Are you coming tomorrow? Leo asked, his voice full of reluctance, just as he did every night. This time, Chloe's answer was decisive. Yes, but it will be later. That's good. Be careful on your way home. Text me when you get there, Leo said, relieved. Just as Chloe reached the door, she faintly heard the sound of Leo's crutches. She turned back to see Maya helping him hobble toward the bathroom in the room. What are you two doing? Chloe asked sternly. Maya blinked innocently. Nothing. Just helping Leo to the bathroom. Chloe reminded her seriously. Are you crazy? You can just call a nurse for that. What it got to do with you? I don't want to. Maya refused flatly. Leo can barely stand with his crutches in the bathroom. The nurses have to hold him up. Since you don't want him anymore, I'm certainly not going to let some nurse get their hands on him for free. Is that true? Chloe asked, blushing. Wait, so you've been the one helping him go to the bathroom all this time? What's wrong with that? Maya said matter-of-factly. What haven't we done together? What's so embarrassing about giving him a hand? Right, Daddy? Ahem. Leo scratched his head, embarrassed. I remembered some things about the three of us the other day, so... Hold on, I have to take this call. Maya pulled out her phone and spoke into it theatrically. Hello? What? The ICU is on the 5th floor. Oh my God, what kind of delivery driver are you? Fine, I'm coming down. Sorry, Dad. My late-night snack got lost. I have to go get it. Maya let go of Leo's arm and shot Chloe a playful smile. Chloe, can you please help out? Pretty please. Hey. Chloe instinctively grabbed Leo to steady him, staring helplessly at Maya's retreating back. Looking at his blushing girlfriend beside him, Leo's own face turned red. Ahem, it's fine. I can hold it. You don't have to trouble yourself. Let's go. The words seemed to be squeezed from Chloe's throat. She helped him slowly toward the bathroom. A moment later, in front of the toilet in the quiet bathroom, she held him steady, her heart pounding. Chloe, Leo said, his arm reflexively wrapping around her slender waist as he whispered her name. Shut up, Chloe stammered, her face so red it felt like it was on fire. She urged him on, mortified. Hurry up. From the doorway, Maya secretly watched them enter the bathroom before she happily pulled out her phone and ordered a late-night snack for herself. Time flew, and the days grew warmer, inching toward the heat of summer. On a sunny afternoon, Maya was taking a leisurely walk with Leo in the hospital's park. Besides his memory, which remained somewhat hazy, Leo's body had recovered with astonishing speed. Even the doctors marveled at his robust constitution. Injuries that should have taken months to heal had mended in just over a month. If the hospital hadn't insisted on running more tests to check for any lingering issues, he would have been discharged long ago. "What's wrong, Dad? You seem to have a lot on your mind today," Maya said, linking her arm with his, her smile bright. "You're getting out tomorrow. You should be happy." During this time, Maya had been by his side almost every day, constantly stimulating his memory with stories from their past. Coupled with her unabashed use of Daddy, it didn't take long for Leo to recall everything about this wicked girl. "I'm trying to be happy," Leo said with a wry smile, sitting down on a park bench. "But once I'm discharged, how am I supposed to win Chloe back?" He could have ignored the doctor's advice and check himself out at any time, but he was afraid that the moment he was discharged, Chloe would use it as an opportunity to break up with him for good, leaving him with no reason or excuse to see her. After all, he had learned from Maya the real reason Chloe wanted to break up with him. Cheating on her was one thing, but getting another girl pregnant behind her back, that was far worse than paying for a one-night stand. The fact that Chloe was willing to come to the hospital every day to take care of him was already a testament to her good nature. Any other woman would have been setting off fireworks at the hospital entrance to celebrate his misfortune. On top of that, today was the second day Chloe hadn't shown up. She'd said she was visiting a sick friend, but Leo had a bad feeling about it, and Sharon had strictly forbidden him from contacting the pregnant girl, saying it would upset her. All he knew was that her name was Lily Reed, and that she went to the same university as Chloe. When he heard her name, a few blurry memories of the girl had flickered in his mind, most of them taking place under the covers. Even with his muddled brain, he could never forget her stunning, curvaceous figure. And then there was everything else. His biological parents versus his adoptive parents, his two adoptive sisters whose feelings for him seemed to have taken a strange turn, and a biological sister who was at odds with his adoptive family. Deep in the recesses of his memory, he felt there were still other important people and events he couldn't recall. Even with amnesia, the situation felt impossibly complicated. He dreaded the day his memory fully returned, when all these ticking time bombs would likely explode at once. "Sigh, if only I could have stayed with amnesia forever," Leo lamented, looking at the patients and their families strolling on the lawn. He rested his head in Maya's lap. "Then I could blame everything on the old me and start fresh with Chloe." "I wouldn't want that," Maya said with a light-hearted hum. "I prefer the old you. The new you is too serious." Looking at the impish Maya, Leo asked with genuine admiration, "I've remembered some things about us, but I'm still curious. What is it about a guy like me that makes you like me so much?" "Who knows? The old you is a lecherous player, a total scumbag. You even dragged me and Chloe into your games together," Maya said, reminiscing about her time with Leo. A fond smile played on her lips. "But for some reason, I just like you. The same way Chloe still likes you, even now." Her sweet, suggestive words made Leo blush, but he didn't deny it. He did have impressions of those things. Even as fragmented memories, just thinking about them was enough to make his blood rush. His usually proud and adorable girlfriend was, in reality, quite daring. "I guess I'm not such a good person either. It's like Chloe said, this pair of cheating dogs should be tied together for life, to keep us from poisoning the market." Maya stretched languidly, then leaned down and tapped his nose. "So, Dad, you need to hurry up and remember everything. There's a huge mess waiting for you to clean up. If you keep dragging this out, even I won't be able to help you." In the afternoon, Maya left the hospital to go home. With both sisters at the Willow Creek Villa taking care of Lily, and Sharon mostly absent now that she knew Leo was recovering, he was largely left to his own devices. His biological parents, Connor and Vivian, had been visiting almost daily, but they were incredibly busy, usually just dropping off a pile of supplements and exchanging a few words before leaving. For the first time in a while, aside from the cloyingly sweet nurses, Leo was alone. He spent the afternoon soaking up the sun on the park bench. As he was about to head back to his room, a message from Chloe arrived with a familiar-looking address. "Elf Princess, after your discharge tomorrow, you're taking me here. Address, Cathedral Point Beach Park. Offline mode. We've been there before, right? Elf Princess. You remember that? I thought you deleted all your chat history. Did Maya tell you?" Eye roll emoji. Chloe had once looked at Leo's phone and found that he had deleted their entire chat history. It was obvious he had done it so Lily wouldn't see it. That was the first day she hadn't come to the hospital to see him. Offline mode. My head's not all there right now, but I could never forget the things we did together. I remember we kissed on the beach there. Smirk emoji. Sitting in the back of a taxi, Chloe read the nostalgic message and was instantly transported back to that sweet memory. The night she had first fallen in love, the time and place of their first kiss. How could she ever forget? But then she remembered that Leo had probably already been cheating on her back then. The sweet images were shattered by the vision of that gentle, beautiful, pregnant girl. Elf princess. Thinking back, that place was actually boring. Cold and out of the way. Anyway, I'm getting out. After her curt reply, the taxi finally arrived at the main gate of the Willow Creek Estates. Sigh. She's getting colder and colder. How am I supposed to win her back? Leo stared at the chilly words on his phone screen and sighed in frustration. Just then, a pregnant woman, supported by another woman, walked slowly toward him. By the time Leo looked up, they were standing right in front of him. He put his phone away and instinctively looked at the pregnant woman, momentarily stunned by her breathtaking beauty. Please sit. Considering her condition, Leo quickly stood up to give them his seat. Hit. Seeing the dumbfounded Leo, the woman gave a strange smile, and tears welled up in her eyes. She rubbed her reddened eyes and cursed him in a gentle, elegant voice. Sit on my ass. Who the hell are you pretending to be? Hey, what the hell is your problem? I offer you a seat, and you curse me out. Leo was about to retort when the familiar, aggressive flirty way she spoke struck a chord. A flood of fragmented, X-rated memories featuring this very woman flashed through his mind. Wait a minute. He pushed aside the images of her in various compromising positions, his heart pounding, and shook his head. He asked tentatively, Look, I was in a car accident recently. The doctor said my head's not right. Have we met somewhere before? I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be like this now, Eleanor said, her face filled with guilt. She apologized, her voice full of self-blame, then added helplessly, but I don't want my children to be born without a father. So you're saying? Leo swallowed hard, a dawning realization hitting him. The torrent of steamy memories, combined with the fact that she had shown up with a large pregnant belly, made it hard not to connect the dots. You've forgotten everything. Eleanor stepped forward and took his hand, her voice filled with disbelief. My name is Eleanor Hayes. I'm your fourth girlfriend. That's what you told me on the cruise ship. You damn brat. Hearing her daughter utter such outrageous words, Catherine, standing behind her, felt her eyebrow twitch. Indignation and rage were written all over her face. If she wasn't worried about upsetting her daughter, she would have had her bodyguards come and deal with this philanderer who only sowed seeds but never reaped. Eleanor, Leo said, a look of dawning comprehension on his face. Damn, it's you. You remember? His familiar curse made Eleanor's eyes light up, a spark of her old excitement returning. I remember, Leo stammered, his Adam's apple bobbing nervously. He noticed Catherine behind Eleanor, her expression turning murderous. Mom, I want to be alone with Leo for a minute, Eleanor said, noticing his tense expression. She turned to her scowling mother. You can wait for me in the car. Catherine forced a strained smile. Is that necessary? I'll just stay here with you. It's not convenient for you with your big belly. It's fine. Leo is here, Eleanor said, leaning against his side without a care in the world. Besides, he's starting to remember me. Don't get in the way. I swear I'm going to strangle this brat. Catherine's heart bled as she watched her daughter willingly throw herself into his arms. It was like watching her always obedient top-of-the-class daughter suddenly fall for some good-for-nothing punk on a loud bike, get pregnant with a child, and then turn around and argue with her parents. You just don't understand him. Fine. I'll wait in the car, Catherine conceded, unable to argue with her pregnant daughter. But she shot a cold glare at Leo. You bring her back to me safely. If anything happens to her, I will never let you off the hook, you little punk. After spitting out the curse through gritted teeth, Catherine turned and stalked away on her high heels. Here, sit down, Leo said, thinking a pregnant woman shouldn't stand for too long. He helped Eleanor to the bench, then sat down beside her, his mind a whirl of emotions. So, he said, pointing at her stomach, is it really mine? It's not that I don't want to be responsible, but I remember we always used protection when we... You know. Damn it, have you forgotten? The last few times we didn't. Eleanor retorted, her face flushing. Dr. Zhang told me that was right during my ovulation period, and we were doing it so often. It's not surprising I got pregnant. I see. Leo clutched his head, trying to remember. A fragmented memory of Eleanor slapping a condom out of his hand did surface. What are you thinking? Eleanor asked tentatively, seeing his serious expression. Just so we're clear, I'm definitely having these babies. The due date is around October. Whether you take responsibility or not, I'm going to raise them both. Damn it, what do you mean, whether I take responsibility? Leo retorted seriously. They're my kids. If I don't take responsibility, who will? His responsible words made the corners of Eleanor's mouth lift in a smile. Then, she apologized softly. I'm sorry, Leo. The thing with your girlfriend. I was the one who blew the whistle. My mom had our bodyguards give Chloe your address. Eleanor laid out the entire sequence of events that led to Chloe and Lily's meeting, leaving Leo completely stunned. Her account filled in many of the gaps from before his accident, especially the memory of Chloe showing up at his door. Even now, the thought of it made him squirm. Damn, you're one evil bitch, Leo said with a laugh. How could you even think of a plan like that? Why not just kill me? Screw you. What else was I supposed to do? Eleanor complained, blushing. Do you think it's been easy for me these past few months, carrying this big belly around? All I want is for my kids to have a father when they're born. Besides, I never said you had to be responsible. All right, what's done is done. Let's not talk about it. Gotta live in the moment. Leo smiled, letting it go. He hadn't blamed her before the amnesia, and he certainly wasn't going to blame her now that everything was out in the open. A strange part of him even felt that she had helped him make a decision. Without the heiress's meddling, he probably still wouldn't know how to handle the situation between Chloe and Lily. Leo placed a hand on Eleanor's round belly, asking with anticipation, is it a boy or a girl? Both, Eleanor said proudly. Dr. Jean said it's fraternal twins. You really hit the jackpot that time. Her way of speaking, so at odds with her elegant appearance and voice, made Leo's mouth twitch. But he didn't find it strange. It seemed this was just how they had always talked to each other. Your belly is so big, he said. You must be due soon, right? The due date is in October, Eleanor said, stroking her stomach with a look of anticipation. You're really going to be a dad then, and I'm going to be a mom. Leo asked curiously. Since they're almost here, have you picked out names? I have, Eleanor nodded. The girl will be called Charlotte Shepherd, and the boy will be Julian Shepherd. What do you think? Huh? They're taking my last name. Leo was surprised. He vaguely remembered that the heiress's parents were rather domineering. He hadn't expected the children's names to include his. After everything he'd done, he certainly hadn't expected the honor of his children carrying his name. As long as they were healthy, that was all that mattered. Are you an idiot? Eleanor said, exasperated. You're their father. Whose last name would they take if not yours? All right, it's getting late. I have to get to the hospital for my checkup. Eleanor steadied her back, rising slowly. Then she cupped Leo's head in her hands, her expression serious. Leo, no matter what happens, you can't forget me. After the babies are born, I'll bring them to see you, and then we'll go somewhere my parents can't find us. Got it? Staring into Eleanor's determined face, fragments of old memories surfaced in his mind. He grinned reflexively. Don't worry, a willing little bitch like you? I haven't had my fill of playing with you for free. How could I ever forget? A long-lost sense of excitement spread through her. Eleanor's face flushed, her heart pounding as she murmured, Damn, it looks like you do remember some things. After helping Eleanor into the car, Leo let out a thoughtful sigh. Meanwhile, inside the villa at Willow Creek Estates, Chloe Miller and Lily Reed sat facing each other on the sofa, a complex mix of emotions hanging between them. Sophie Shepherd sat on the couch between them, leisurely pouring them tea, completely unconcerned about what relationship these two women had with Leo. Riley Shepherd didn't share her sister's calm composure. She was on pins and needles, a nervous wreck, occasionally stealing glances at their faces. Sis, go ask Mom when she's getting off work, Sophie said with a cheerful smile, looking at her sweating sister. Let's just go pick up Leo tonight. No need to wait until tomorrow. Oh, okay. Riley couldn't stand the tense atmosphere a second longer. She quickly grabbed her phone and headed upstairs. Sophie placed a cup of rich black tea in front of Chloe and said with a familiar smile, Chloe, have some tea. Before, when Sophie and Chloe were together, Sophie had absolutely no interest in speaking to her. Even after they hadn't been in the same room for a long time, Sophie's dislike for her had remained constant. But now the tables had turned. Chloe's relationship with Leo had reached its end, so of course Sophie had to treat her former rival well at this critical juncture. Chloe glanced at the pot stirring Sophie. She knew exactly what was going through the younger girl's head and had no intention of taking the bait. Chloe's silence was exactly what Sophie expected. She didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, she broke the heavy atmosphere with a beaming smile. My brother's getting out of the hospital this afternoon. No need to make things so tense. Chloe continued to ignore Sophie, turning her gaze to the placid-looking Lily. Have these two been taking care of you this whole time? Yes, Lily replied flatly. And my mom, too, Sophie added with a smile. Her son's girlfriend is pregnant. How could a mother just stand by and do nothing? It's been me, my sister, and my mom taking care of Lily. It's just that she had to work today. Is that so? Chloe let out a cold, bitter laugh. If Sharon was personally taking care of her, what was the difference between that and caring for a future daughter-in-law? When did you and Leo meet? Sucking in a breath to fight back the ache in her heart, Chloe asked again. She wanted to hear the real story of their relationship from Lily's own lips, to see if there was anything she had missed, or maybe just to find out how many lies Leo had woven to deceive her. Lily enunciated each word clearly. Soon after I started college. We lived in the same apartment complex back then. Chloe asked abruptly, when you were being bullied before, was he the one who stepped in to help you? Yes, Lily nodded honestly. Of course. Chloe had long suspected that Lily had some powerful person backing her. Otherwise, how could she have dealt with those campus bullies who had connections at the university so easily? The only thing was, Chloe had never imagined that the person behind Lily was the very boyfriend she spent every day with. Back then, Leo had even lied to her, claiming he didn't even know Lily. Thinking back on it now, she really had been naive and easy to fool. The conversation was getting a little too intense, so Sophie stopped interjecting. Instead, she listened intently, trying to catch any key pieces of information. The living room fell silent for a long time. Chloe's gaze fell to Lily's swelling belly. After swallowing hard, she asked in a raw voice, "When's the due date?" "Soon, around October." Lily looked down and stroked her stomach, letting out a relieved sigh. She then looked up, her expression serious. "So, can you leave Leo alone? And don't bother him anymore." The aggressive demand was so shocking that Sophie nearly spat out her tea. She stared at Lily, completely stunned that the normally introverted and gentle girl could say something so forceful. Chloe had come over today to confess everything to Lily and to sever all ties with Leo. But Lily's arrogant attitude instantly ignited Chloe's competitive spirit. She let out a disdainful, cold laugh. "A two-timing player, and you treat him like some kind of treasure." "Yes, I do," Lily replied, her expression resolute. "So don't bother him anymore. After the baby is born, I'm going to marry him, and then we'll move to Florida or Idaho to live. And he'll forget all about you." "What do you mean I'm bothering him?" Chloe had been on edge for days, and Lily's smug, proprietary tone finally made her snap. "Let me get this straight. While I was with him, who knows what you were doing? Don't think that just because you've got a little more upstairs, you can do whatever you want. Have you ever heard of first come, first served?" Chloe's loss of composure and her heated outburst left Sophie dumbfounded. She was shocked at how quickly Chloe had cracked, and just as shocked at how Lily had suddenly become so sharp and cold. At the same time, a sense of alarm rose in Sophie. The more Chloe cared about Lily's every move, the more it proved how much she still cared about Leo. "Yeah, a little more." Lily smiled wickedly. She leaned back against the sofa, supporting her lower back with her hands. The movement caused her already ample chest to spread out, a magnificent sight that made Chloe's pupils tremble. Lily's figure had always been excellent, and pregnancy had given her an epic-level enhancement. Just leaning back was enough to display a figure that most women couldn't even look at directly. Even if Leo met you first, you weren't good enough to keep him. Who can you blame for that? Lily gave a contemptuous, mocking smile. "From the moment you walked in, I've been meaning to ask. Do you even eat properly? P.S. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I'll be updating daily this month. You, or are you like a child who needs Leo to coax you into eating?" Lily didn't give Chloe a chance to speak, shaking her head with a sympathetic sigh. It's no wonder Leo was always sighing. "Forget him. Even I can't stand your entitled, childish temper. I think the best thing you can do right now is find a good therapist, work on your personality, and stop wasting my time arguing about pointless things." Silence. A dead, suffocating silence. The atmosphere in the room froze, as if time itself had stopped. Chloe's eyes reddened with rage, her chest heaving violently. Her breathing became visibly rapid, her face flushing a deep crimson, as if an invisible force was choking her. She couldn't utter a single word. Even Sophie, who had been enjoying the drama, felt that Lily's words were too harsh. This aggressive, cold mockery was a world away from the introverted, sensitive girl she knew. She wanted to say something to ease the tension, but she was stunned into silence by Lily's cutting presence. She could only hold her teacup quietly, her eyes darting between the two women's faces. "It's getting late." Seeing Chloe staring at her without a word, Lily flashed a playful, polite, and generous smile. "Do you want to stay for dinner? Leo will be back tonight. If you have something to say, Don't say it to me. Say it to him when he gets here. None of your business. Chloe snapped, humiliated. She quickly wiped her tears with her sleeve, grabbed her small purse, and left the villa without a backward glance. The sound of the front door slamming shut echoed behind her. Lily, that was awesome, Sophie said, breaking the tense silence after Chloe left. Between the plain Jane Lily and the little vixen Chloe, Sophie definitely disliked Chloe more. Lily turned to face the smiling Sophie, staring at her until the smile gradually faded from her face. Only then did she issue a cold warning. Sophie, don't think I don't know what you and your sister are thinking. Let me give you a piece of advice now, too. It's impossible between you and Leo, because he's your brother. You better get rid of those little ideas. What are you talking about, Lily? I don't understand, Sophie said with a forced smile, refusing to admit to anything regarding her relationship with Leo. Besides, they weren't even related by blood. You know what I'm talking about, Lily said bluntly. She then looked toward the closed front door, lost in thought. The harshness in her eyes slowly faded, and she murmured, as if just realizing it herself, Was I too harsh just now? Sophie, why didn't you try to stop me? Huh? Sophie looked at Lily, who seemed to have a split personality. Are you possessed or something? At 6 in the evening, the sun began to set. Following the map of his memory, Leo found his way to the bus stop where he and Chloe had their first date. Sitting on the waiting bench, he stared blankly at the passing crowd as large chunks of memory pieced themselves together in his mind. It was right across from this bus stop, under the brilliant golden glow of the setting sun, that a school uniform-clad Chloe had run toward him with a bag of candied nuts, shyly asking for his number. Perhaps the memory was too profound, because in an instant, Leo recalled the image of Chloe running toward him. In the radiant sunset, her long black hair was dyed gold, like a vibrant golden elf. That was the main reason he called his little girlfriend his elf princess. But things were different now. The lively elf princess of the past would probably never appear again. Wait, did I used to live around here? As he thought back on the past, Leo looked at the slightly dated evergreen terrace apartments not far away, a sense of déjà vu washing over him. But the deeper he tried to dig, the more a sharp pain pierced his head, as if his brain was blocking access to those deeper memories. Just then, Leo sensed someone next to him. He turned to find Chloe standing behind him. Leo looked her over and realized she was dressed exactly as she had been on their first date, right down to the white thigh-highs under her skirt. The only things that had changed were her aura and her energy. Before, Chloe had been vibrant from head to toe, exuding a youthful vigor just by looking at her. But now, she looked haggardly at him, her eyes red and swollen, as if she had just had a long cry. What's wrong? Leo asked, his heart aching. He stepped forward, raising a hand to touch her face, but she slapped it away coldly. Don't touch me. Leo wasn't embarrassed by the rejection. Given his current situation, he was lucky she hadn't stabbed him twice. A cold shoulder was nothing. I remember. On our first date, you wore this exact outfit, right? Leo said with a smile, trying to break the ice. I remember telling you that you had great legs. You still remember? Chloe looked at him with some surprise, the doctor's words flashing through her mind. To put it simply, his previous memories are still stored in his brain. With certain external stimuli, there's a chance he can recall them. Certain deep memories, especially those with strong emotional ties, may still be retained. Leo nodded, as if it were obvious. Of course, even if my brain's messed up, I still remember who my first love was. I'll probably still remember you even when I have dementia. Chloe had felt a flicker of emotion, but the thought of the pregnant woman at Willow Creek Estates, who had been with Leo at virtually the same time as her, instantly extinguished it. It was replaced by a profound sense of betrayal. Sorry, I'm barely 5'3". My legs aren't that long. You should save those lines for other girls in the future. After her merciless rebuttal, Chloe walked alone toward the crosswalk. Leo had no choice but to follow. They ate at the same roast duck restaurant, and then wandered through the bustling food truck pod. They looked like a couple, but there was no physical contact between them, and they barely exchanged a few words. Chloe was just coldly reenacting what they had done on their first date. You go buy me that, Chloe said, pointing to a vendor making cotton candy, her tone cold and commanding. Okay, Leo nodded and quickly disappeared into the crowded street. What am I doing? I came here to break up with him. Why am I dragging this out? Chloe, do you really want to keep crying over this player? Chloe watched Leo's figure, barely visible in the crowd, and murmured to herself, her emotions a tangled mess. In truth, the moment she saw him at the bus stop, she had wanted to tell him it was over. But all it took was for him to remember what she wore on their first date, and she had shamefully suppressed the thought. More than 10 minutes later, Leo pushed his way back through the crowd. What took you so long? Chloe demanded, dissatisfied. She was confused by her own indecision and furious about Lily's cutting remarks from the afternoon. Realizing that Leo was the source of it all, she uncharacteristically lost her temper with him. I took a little detour. Want to get you a bag of candied nuts? Leo scratched his head sheepishly, handing her the cotton candy and then a steaming bag of nuts. I remember these sweet ones are your favorite, right? Chloe numbly took the bag, which smelled deliciously sweet. She looked at the guilt-ridden player in front of her, and the long-suppressed, shameful emotions suddenly surged within her. Tears began to stream uncontrollably down her face. Why? Chloe wailed, clutching the nuts and cotton candy. What did I do wrong that you all have to take turns hurting me? If Leo were the kind of player who used a girl and then ghosted her, Chloe, upon learning the truth, would have been sad for a while, but would have eventually moved on. Chloe was a smart girl. She would never waste too much grief on an irresponsible man like that. It simply wasn't worth it. But Leo wasn't like that. Even though he was a two-timing player who had even gotten Lily pregnant, he still held a place for her in his heart. Even with amnesia, he remembered so many of her habits. That was what tormented Chloe. If Leo had become cold and distant toward her because of Lily, she would have broken up with him without a second thought, and she wouldn't have wallowed in misery over him. But not only did Leo remember her habits, he also remembered their sweet moments together, which proved that she was, in fact, still in his heart. Every time he brought up the past, her resolve to break up would waver, and the shameful desire to reconcile would surge upward. Caught in this state of indecision, torn between moving forward and staying put, Chloe finally couldn't hold back the complex emotions inside her and burst into tears. To her, Leo talking about their sweet past was just another way of hurting her, of mocking the part of her that shamefully wanted to make up. Don't cry. Although Leo's memory was still fragmented, in this situation, his instincts took over. He pulled Chloe into his arms and coaxed her in a soft, patient voice. It's all my fault. Wah, don't touch me, you big liar. Chloe struggled symbolically for a moment before burying her tear-streaked face in his chest. Soon, her tears had soaked a patch of his shirt. At this hour, the food truck pod was packed with people. A couple fighting, especially with a girl crying out words that sounded like betrayal, was prime entertainment. Passers-by cast curious glances at the embracing couple. A few even took out their phones and started discreetly filming, apparently recognizing Leo. Hearing the clicking sound around them and realizing the precariousness of Leo's public image, Chloe immediately turned and shouted at the crowd. What are you looking at? Leo blinked, then quickly added, Yeah, what are you looking at? Haven't you ever seen a couple have a fight? Who's a couple with you? Chloe immediately pushed Leo away, tossed her hair dismissively, and strode forward. But after a few steps, she turned back with a stern expression, looked up at Leo coldly, and then snatched the bag of candied nuts from his hand. She started walking again, but this time her pace was suspiciously slow. Just as Leo was standing there, his mind racing, Chloe looked back at him impatiently. You've got a problem with your head, and now your legs too? Are you coming or not? Leo's eyes lit up. He quickly caught up to her side and teased, totally normal. Hasn't every comedian said the brain is the highway to the legs? Now, what a lame joke. Chloe rolled her eyes at him, started peeling a candied nut, then paused as she looked at the dark kernel. Without turning her head, she held it out to him. This sudden peace offering caught Leo by surprise. He quickly opened his mouth to accept the nut, only to have his mouth fill with a bitter taste. The nut was rotten, but Leo didn't spit it out. He chewed it a few times, grimaced, and swallowed. You big dummy. Serves you right. Chloe huffed, satisfied. It's a little bitter in my mouth, Leo said with a smile, but my heart is sweet. The sudden, flirty line caught Chloe off guard. The guy was just as smooth-tongued as ever. Ooh, I'm so moved, honey. You're so good at this you must have a lot of girlfriends if you're this smooth. Chloe pouted sarcastically. Holding the warm bag of nuts, she suddenly quickened her pace. Just as Leo thought his little girlfriend's heart was impenetrable, he noticed the corners of her mouth slowly turning up. I have a lot of girlfriends, sure, Leo said, catching up to her, mustering his courage to take a risky approach. But I only have one first love. You probably don't know this, but for us guys, first love is something we can never forget. Chloe acted as if she hadn't heard, continuing to peel her nuts. I used to complain about those K-dramas, Leo continued, talking to himself. The male lead gets in a car crash, loses his memory, but somehow still remembers the female lead's name and hobbies. The setup is so cliché and fake. He went on, but now that I've experienced it myself, it's actually true. Look, I just woke up, and I already remember so much about you. I guess art really does imitate life. It's not a lie at all. Chloe remained unmoved, though she had stopped peeling the nuts. Adhering to the principle that a thick skin gets the girl, Leo decisively seized the opportunity and subtly reached for Chloe's hand. The moment his fingers touched hers, he clearly felt her flinch. "What do you think you're doing?" Chloe stopped and looked up, glaring fiercely at the shameless Leo. "I want to hold your hand," Leo said bluntly. "No," Chloe said irritably. "Shepard, how can you be so shameless? You lied to me for so long, and I haven't even gotten even with you yet. Don't think I won't hit you just because your brain is messed up." "Then I'll hold it first," Leo said, looking as if he'd accepted his fate. He grasped her hand firmly. "I'm a dead man either way. Holding your hand now isn't asking too much, is it?" Chloe's hand was a bit slippery for peeling nuts. If she pulled her arm back even slightly, she could easily slip out of his grasp. Chloe's eyebrow twitched. She gritted her teeth and grumbled. "Asking for your number was the worst luck of my life." Though her words were harsh, her actions showed no resistance. She neither pulled her arm back nor actively squeezed his fingers. Her 5 delicate, smooth fingers simply remained passively in his hand. "You know, you're dressed exactly like you were on our first date. It really feels like I've gone back in time," Leo said with a smile. He knew Chloe was in a state of push and pull, undoubtedly on the verge of forgiving him. In this situation, any sign of cowardice or admission of guilt would surely trigger bad memories. So, all he needed to do now was be shameless, create a romantic atmosphere just for the two of them, and avoid everything else. The summer seaside was exceptionally cool, the air filled with the salty, fresh scent of the ocean. Leo held Chloe's hand, still chattering away, trying to coax his stubborn little girlfriend. Cathedral Point had been nicely renovated in the past 2 years. At night, many couples strolled along the beach and in the park. Occasionally, they would see a couple lost in a passionate embrace. As they passed a pair making out on a bench, Leo clearly saw a flicker of longing and helplessness in Chloe's eyes. If it weren't for all the awful things that had happened recently, they would probably be even more inseparable than that couple. And maybe even with Maya, too. Leo also had a vague sense of why Chloe had specifically wanted him to come here with her. His little girlfriend had always been a romantic at heart, with a love for sappy K-dramas. Returning to the place where they first met was her way of seeking a peaceful breakup, right where it all began. That's what you get from watching too many K-dramas. As they reached the rocky outcrop from 2 years ago, Leo suddenly remembered. This was where they had their first kiss. At the same moment, Chloe stopped walking. She pulled her hand from his and looked at him, her expression a mixture of grievance and reluctance. Her lips parted and closed several times before she finally stammered, "Leo, let's break." "No." Leo pulled her into his arms without hesitation. "I know what you're going to say, but I don't agree. I worked so hard to get you. How could I bear to break up with you?" But what do you want me to do? She's pregnant." Chloe cried out as well. "Are you going to abandon her to be with me? You can't be that heartless." "That's not it, it's just..." Leo released her. After a moment of frantic thinking, he couldn't come up with a solution. He ran his hands through his hair in frustration and, in a moment of desperation, confessed, "I want to be responsible for both of you. She's pregnant, so I have to be responsible for her. You're my first love. I can't bear to break up with you." "Yeah, so that's what you were thinking." Chloe laughed, though it was exactly what she'd expected. "Leo, do you really think you're some kind of emperor with a girl on each arm? You player. It's better than running away, isn't it? I'm a player, but at least I admit it. I did this, and if I just ran away, wouldn't that make me a real deadbeat?" Leo was now cornered as well. He decided to pour out his thoughts, a mix of truth and half-truths. "If I were just a player, I would have broken up with you a long time ago. Why would I be here, humbling myself to coax you? Do you know that both my mom and my birth mother have been telling me that since Lily is pregnant, I should just have a shotgun wedding with her and cut ties with you? If you think you're humbling yourself by being with me, then let's break up. Go marry her." The word marriage set Chloe off. She yelled, her eyes welling with tears. "Her body is better than mine, and she's prettier than me anyway. What's there for you to be unhappy about? But I can't let you go. Do you really think I only chased you because you're pretty?" Leo paused mid-sentence, then nodded in admission. Okay, I admit, when we first got together, it was because I thought you were beautiful. But I gradually fell for you after we started dating. Besides, as a director, I've met plenty of beautiful women. Do you really think I'm that shallow? That I have to hit on every attractive woman I see? What do I have right now? My biological father is Connor Sterling, one of the richest men in Florida. I have my own massive company. My personal assets are in the billions. What kind of beautiful woman couldn't I get? If I didn't love you like crazy, why would I put up with your princess attitude? Why would I spend all my time online copying cheesy pickup lines to tell you? Why would I go to such lengths to hide Lily? It was all because I love you, because I was worried you'd get angry and sad if you found out. This hysterical barrage of verbal punches left Chloe looking increasingly bewildered. She couldn't believe Leo could frame such an astronomically shitty thing in such a reasonable way. And what was worse, for a moment, she couldn't find a single angle to refute him. It was the first time she had seen Leo so passionately declare his love for her, and that shameful part of her heart began to stir again. "Chloe, I'm begging you." Leo hugged her again, his face a mask of anguish. "You know I don't usually beg people. I really can't bear to be apart from you." After a long moment, Chloe finally pushed against him. "Let me go." Leo held her tighter, his voice choked with emotion. "I won't let go until you say yes." "Leo, you're hurting me," Chloe cried out in discomfort. Only then did Leo quickly release her. Are you okay?" Chloe shot him a resentful glare, tidying her messy hair. She stole a glance at him and let out a triumphant little huff. "Well, I never knew you had such a rich inner life. You pathetic simp. Who would be willing to be a simp if it wasn't for real love?" Leo said, riding the momentum. He pulled her into his arms again and, pressing his advantage, kissed her passionately. "MMPH. Leo, I hate you." Chloe let out a surprised cry, swatting at him a few times. When she realized it was useless, she gave up and let him do as he pleased. But right at the end, she bit him in retaliation, making him yelp and pull his tongue back. "Ow, are you trying to kill me?" Leo dabbed at his tongue, a sweet, slightly metallic taste filling his mouth. "Serves you right. It would be best if you died." Chloe swallowed, her face flushed and her heart racing as she cursed him. "Who said you could just kiss me? Shepherd, what am I to you that you think you can just kiss me? You are my—" Leo didn't back down. He cupped her crimson face in his hands and said, as if recalling a memory, "You are my one and only elf princess. The kind that belongs only to me. You're such a scoundrel." Chloe lifted her face, gritting her teeth as she cursed him. The sun was setting, its last rays bathing Chloe's face in a warm glow. Her beautiful, proud face, saying one thing while feeling another, was exceptionally cute and enchanting. Overcome with emotion, Leo leaned in again, but paused midway to add with a smile, "You're not allowed to bite me this time, okay?" Chloe threatened menacingly, "Just you try me." "Fine, a bite is a bite," Leo said with a carefree laugh, and kissed her again. This time, his little girlfriend was unusually compliant and exceptionally passionate and proactive, even wrapping her arms around his back. As night fell, the crowds at Cathedral Point thinned out. The park lights flickered on one by one, gradually illuminating the quiet space. Leo and Chloe sat on a park bench, silently watching the endless coastline in the distance. Leo didn't know what his little girlfriend was thinking, but from her serious, indecisive expression, he could tell she had more or less forgiven him. Now was the time to press his advantage. "Are you cold?" Leo reached an arm around Chloe's back, his hand naturally settling on her soft waist. Chloe was still debating whether to forgive Leo when his sudden move made her jump. "What are you doing? Don't touch me." "Then what was that just now?" Leo said sullenly, sticking out his tongue slightly. "Haven't you noticed I'm talking with a lisp now?" It was your bad luck. Serves you right if I bit it off." Chloe retorted, her face flushing and her heart pounding. She silently cursed herself for being so weak, for letting this guy win her over with just a few words. I'm going home." Chloe shot up from the bench and turned to leave, but Leo was quicker. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her onto his lap. Holding her waist, Leo said sweetly, "It's still early. I just remembered you. Can't you stay and talk with me for a bit?" "I don't want to. I'm going home." "You pervert, let me go." Chloe pushed against Leo's head, her face rosy as she scolded him. But there was no real force in her hands. It was less of a rejection and more of a coy, reluctant protest. Leo looked up at her pleadingly. "Then at least unblock me from your phone, and unhide your profile from me on social media." "No." Chloe tilted her chin up defiantly. "Shepherd, we broke up. Why should I unblock you? From now on, I'm only hiding my profile from you." "No, wait. I'm deleting you when I get home. From now on, we go our separate ways." Leo knew his little girlfriend's personality inside and out. She was easiest to coax when she was saying the most resolute things. You really want to break up?" Leo's tone softened instantly. He looked at her with a near-desperate expression, and the grip on her waist loosened. If she wanted to get up, she could easily push his hands away and leave. Chloe fell silent. She just sat on his lap, pouting, looking at him with a mix of longing and hesitation, unwilling and unable to answer the question directly. Her adorable, proud demeanor made Leo's heart soar. He hugged her waist again. "Ah, I knew you still loved me. Who loves you, you stupid player? Let me go." Perhaps because Leo had seen through her, Chloe flew into a rage. Her legs, clad in white thigh-highs, kicked wildly, and she pushed against him with much more force. "Ouch!" Leo yelped suddenly. His hands froze, and he brought one up to rub his eye, looking uncomfortable. What's wrong?" Chloe tilted her head, asking with concern. She had almost forgotten that besides his head injury, Leo had other physical wounds. "Your nail just scratched my eye," Leo said, his head down, sucking in a sharp breath. "Ah, don't move. Let me see. I'll blow on it for you." Chloe quickly cupped his head in her hands. Just as she was about to blow on his eye to soothe it, Leo lifted his right hand, covering his face and leaving only one eye visible. In a deep voice, he said, "Amaterasu." "You." The sudden, geeky reference almost made Chloe laugh out loud. She playfully punched him, and this time it actually hurt. Leo gave a bitter smile. "Whoa, my leg is injured, you know." Chloe crossed her arms, complaining indifferently. "Serves you right. Who told you to be so handsy?" "Who was being handsy? You really did scratch my eye. See for yourself." Leo pulled down his lower eyelid with a finger and leaned in close to Chloe. Chloe looked closely and saw that there was indeed a red patch in his eye. "Serves you right. Who told you to get all touchy-feely? Don't move, I'll blow on it." After grumbling, Chloe held his face and gently blew on the reddened part of his eyeball. "Is that better?" "Chloe, you're so gentle. I've never seen this gentle side of you before." Leo's hands, which were holding her waist, slowly moved downward to cup her rear as he teased her with a smile. "How about you poke me in the other eye, and then you can blow on that one too?" "Hey, stop moving around. Someone will see," Chloe said, noticing his hands getting restless. She glanced around worriedly, afraid someone would see them in this compromising position on the bench, completely forgetting that she was supposed to be angry with him. "Want to get a hotel?" Leo asked eagerly. But your body isn't." As Chloe hesitated, she suddenly remembered that she was still in the middle of a fight with this guy. This guy was a player. He got Lily pregnant. Remembering all this, Chloe's attitude hardened instantly. She held his face between her hands and warned him sternly, "Don't think I've forgiven you. I'm telling you, I will remember you cheating on me with other women for the rest of my life. If you're going to remember it for a lifetime, then you'll have to spend a lifetime with me," Leo said, seizing the opportunity. "It's the same whether you remember it alone or we remember it together." "You." Chloe really didn't know how to fight with him anymore. Giving up, she leaned into his embrace and complained in a choked voice, "Leo, you're so awful. I like you so much. Why did you have to keep lying to me? Do you know how many times I've cried for you since your accident?" At this moment, even the quick-witted Leo could only offer the three cheapest words. "I'm so sorry." After a brief moment of tenderness, Chloe finished her tearful complaints and nestled against him like a little bird. Leo gently stroked her hair. They said nothing, simply feeling each other's warmth as the chirping of crickets in the park grew louder. "Leo, I need to go home and think," Chloe finally said, lifting her head to look at him with indecision. "For a while. Please don't come looking for me, okay?" Looking at his little girlfriend's tear-stained face, Leo brushed a stray strand of hair from her forehead and answered seriously, "Okay, I promise." A little bit of drama, a whole lot of devotion. Works every time, Leo muttered to himself with satisfaction after dropping Chloe off at her parents' apartment complex. He hailed a cab and headed back to Willow Creek Estates. Chloe had always been indecisive. The fact that she was willing to even consider forgiving him meant she was already most of the way there. She just didn't know how to accept this new reality. After all, Maya was her best friend since childhood, but she had no real connection to Lily. Just that morning, they had been trading barbs at the villa. Getting them to coexist peacefully would be nearly impossible. But Leo wasn't discouraged. Since Chloe was already entertaining the idea, he was confident he could win her back completely. If they couldn't get along, they could just live separately. Portland was a big city. It wasn't like they all had to live under one roof. "Leo." The moment he opened the door, Sophie threw herself at him, her voice filled with worry. "Where did you go? I called you, but you didn't answer. The doctor said you were discharged this afternoon. My phone died. I just took a walk by the ocean." Leo patted Sophie's head. For some reason, memories of this girl came back to him quickly. "Hey, old man, how are you feeling?" Riley waved a hand in front of Leo's face. "Do you remember me? I'm your sister." "I have amnesia, not dementia," Leo said, pinching Riley's cheek. He walked into the quiet living room, where Sharon was busy washing dishes. There were some freshly reheated leftovers on the table. Sharon turned to look at her troublesome adopted son and sighed helplessly. You just got out of the hospital, you're not even fully recovered, and you're already off to see that girl? Leo naturally wouldn't admit he had been with Chloe. What are you talking about? I really did just go for a walk by the ocean. Leo, you need to take a break. Your father and I are getting old. We can't handle this kind of stress. Sharon knew instantly that he had gone to see Chloe. She advised him earnestly, Lily's belly is so big now. Are you still planning to mess around with Chloe? Where is she now? Leo asked, worried. He didn't want to tell anyone what he was planning until it was done. She ate dinner and waited for you in the living room for hours. She was so exhausted I had to persuade her to go upstairs to sleep, Sharon said with a pang of sympathy, then warned him seriously. Leo, I'm telling you straight. Since Lily is about to give birth, you need to settle down and live a proper life with her. No more fooling around, and don't bother Chloe anymore. I'll call that girl and her parents later to apologize. You two should just end things. Lily was due any day now. At this critical point, Sharon was genuinely afraid Leo would do something to upset her and affect the baby. Hold on, Mom. I haven't even apologized to Chloe yet, Leo said. After I do, I'll go to her parents myself. I'll clean up my own mess. I'm not a kid anymore. If Sharon got involved now, after he had just barely won Chloe back, he might really lose her for good. If her parents found out what he'd done, they would never let them see each other again. Huh, quite the man of principle, aren't you? You're not afraid Chloe's parents will skin you alive. Sharon scoffed. Not only did you cheat on their daughter, but you also got Lily pregnant. If I were Chloe's parents, I'd make sure to philander her like you learned his lesson. Leo rubbed his nose, not wanting to argue with his mother any further. He ran upstairs, then slowed his pace, quietly pushing open his bedroom door. Lily was lying on her side, sleeping peacefully. Leo sat down next to her. Just looking at her beautiful, sweet face brought memories of their time together rushing back. As he slowly processed them, he noticed two distinct tear tracks on her face and a noticeable wet patch on the pillow. Leo sighed softly. He carefully lay down beside her and gently stroked her smooth cheek. But the moment his fingers touched her skin, her eyes fluttered open. Seeing the man she'd been longing for, her eyes instantly filled with a sense of grievance. Leo gently caressed her face. I was going to come back this afternoon, but my phone died and I couldn't get a ride. How are you doing? Leo, I'm so scared. Scared of what? Lily gripped his hand tightly, her voice choked with emotion. I'm scared you'll leave me. I thought you weren't coming back. How could I? I'm about to be a father. How could I leave you? Leo pulled the full-figured Lily into his arms and comforted her softly. The doctor said that to get my memory back, I need to go to places I used to frequent. I just went for a walk by the ocean, but then my phone died and I didn't have my wallet, so I got back late. Lily asked urgently, so did you remember me? Of course, Leo said, recalling their history flawlessly. We met at the Evergreen Terrace Apartments. You lived across from me. I remember when you were sick, I took you to the hospital. You confessed to me after you got better, and we got together. Oh, and we even went to your hometown and ate lamb head with your sister. Leo held the woman in his arms, vividly recounting their daily life together. Though it was simple, Lily listened with rapt attention, her expression gradually relaxing. Evergreen Terrace. Leo kept coming back to the apartment complex where they had lived for so long, where they had met and fallen in love. But he felt like he was forgetting something. The deeper he tried to delve into his memory, the more elusive it became, until a dull ache spread across his cerebral cortex. He shook his head, a cold sweat breaking out on his brow. What's wrong? Lily asked with concern, seeing his pained expression. Lily, when we were living at Evergreen Terrace, did I know anyone else there? Leo muttered thoughtfully. The doctor said the part of my brain responsible for memory is still a bit damaged. If I can't remember things from the past soon, I might never remember them. No, Lily said, her eyes widening. As if realizing something, she quickly shook her head and denied it. We only lived there for a little while, and then we moved here. Oh, is that so? Leo scratched his head, confused. But I feel like I'm forgetting something. You're not, Lily said, pressing closer into his embrace. Her ample softness spread against his chest, and her expression turned uncomfortable. Leo, I'm feeling really sore. Can you help me? Your breasts are tender? Okay. Leo shook his head, his hands gently cupping her, and let go of the half-forgotten memories. The next morning, Lily woke up early. After covering Leo with a blanket, she steadied her belly and back and went to her sister Grace's room. Grace, wake up. Lily gently woke the sleeping girl. Sister, what is it? Grace rubbed her eyes and looked at her sister, then glanced behind her. Where's Leo? Isn't he back? Lily was a little surprised. How did you know he was back? Grace said sleepily. I heard his footsteps on the stairs when I was sleeping last night. She could basically identify everyone in the house by the sound of their footsteps. Leo's still not well. He's resting now. Lily stroked her sister's head, instinctively glancing at the door. Then, she gave her sister a serious warning. Grace, I need to tell you something, and you have to remember it well. Huh? What is it? Grace blinked, looking at her serious sister. From now on, if Leo asks who he used to live with, you tell him it was just the three of us. No one else. Do you understand? The days passed, and the temperature climbed higher and higher. As October approached, the average temperature in Portland soared to a blistering 104 degrees, turning the city into a giant, steaming furnace. Since his discharge from the hospital, stimulated by his surroundings, Leo's memory had gradually returned. He remembered most people and events, and his physical injuries had long since healed. He soon threw himself back into his work at the company. However, Leo had no real interest in his career at the moment. During his recovery, Derek Flynn had handled all the company's affairs. Now that he was back, he had even less inclination to deal with them. That was because both Lily and Eleanor had reached their due dates and were now in their respective hospitals. Although both had professional obstetric nurses caring for them, Eleanor even had top-tier international nurses on 24-hour call. Leo couldn't shake his anxiety. Unless there was something at the company that absolutely required his attention, he spent his days shuttling between the two hospitals. On the third day of the long holiday weekend, while Leo was inspecting a filming location, Sharon called, her voice ecstatic. You punk, Lily's about to give birth. Get to the hospital. I'm coming. Leo hung up without a second thought, not even bothering to say goodbye to the investors, and headed straight for the parking lot. It's all right, everyone. Mr. Shepard probably has an emergency, Derek said, already used to this. After Leo drove off, he immediately took over hosting the investors who had come to see the actors and review the script. After a frantic drive, he arrived at the hospital. He anxiously checked a few wrong delivery rooms before finally finding Lily's. Inside, Sharon was tearfully checking on a weakened Lily on the bed, while David stood by a small bassinet, beaming as he called friends and family with the good news. Lily, how are you? Leo rushed into the room, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. He had no experience with childbirth and felt completely overwhelmed. Go, why are you covered in sweat? Don't drip on Lily, Sharon said, pushing Leo aside with a look of disdain. The hospital elevators had been too slow, so Leo had taken the stairs, getting lost along the way. He now realized he was drenched in sweat and quickly took a few steps back. I'm fine, Lily said, her face pale. She asked, a hint of apprehension in her voice. Leo, it's a girl. Do you like her? I love her. A daughter is great. Boys are too rowdy. I love girls. Leo grinned foolishly and hurried over to the bassinet, crouching beside David to gaze joyfully at the tiny, wrinkled creature inside. Is she a little ugly? Leo asked, scratching his head with a smile. Mom is so beautiful, and Dad is so handsome. How did she not inherit any of our looks? She's not ugly at all, Lily retorted protectively from the bed. You punk, don't make me smack you. Sharon, who now viewed Lily as more precious than her own daughter, quickly warned him. Babies are always like this when they're born, David explained irritably. All newborns look the same. They've been soaking in amniotic fluid for so long and just went through childbirth. How could they look pretty? True. With parents who were top tier in the looks department, this phase would pass quickly. Leo nodded in understanding. After cooling down for a while under the air conditioning, Leo's ecstatic mood gradually subsided. Just then, Connor and Vivian Sterling arrived, laden with bags, rushing into the delivery room. My dear, are you feeling better? Vivian immediately went to Lily's bedside, completely ignoring David and Sharon. I am fine, ma'am, Lily said. She didn't know Vivian well, only that Sharon had told her this was Leo's birth mother and the wife of one of Florida's wealthiest men. Vivian brushed a strand of hair from Lily's forehead and said caringly, Your uncle and I bought you some supplements. We'll have the nurse prepare them for you later. Thank you, ma'am, Lily replied obediently. Why did you tell them? Sharon shot a glare at David, muttering jealously under her breath. That couple doesn't just want to steal your son. Now, they're probably after your granddaughter and daughter-in-law, too. You're just so generous. She's family, after all. It didn't feel right to keep it from them, David sighed, his own emotions complicated. He was starting to regret notifying them. Vivian went to the bassinet and looked at the baby nestled in the soft blankets. Her eyes reddened, and as if remembering something, she glanced at Leo, and tears began to fall uncontrollably. Soon, the entire room was filled with the sound of her quiet sobbing. Hey, on such a happy day, what are you crying for? Connor knew his wife was thinking about what had happened to Leo when he was a baby. He quickly put an arm around her, comforting her softly before changing the subject. Old Shepherd, have you picked a name for the child? I know a famous master in Florida. I can take her to get a good name for the baby when I have time. Shouldn't we leave something like that to the parents? David keenly sensed the underlying meaning in Connor's words and immediately declined. It's better to let the two of them decide on the name. That's right. Lily, have you thought a name for the baby? Sharon quickly tossed the question to Lily. I don't know, Lily said, sensing the subtle tug-of-war between the two couples. She could only cast a pleading look at Leo. Under Lily's gaze, both sets of parents turned their eyes to Leo. It's not like picking a username, Leo said, well aware of what both families wanted, for the baby to carry their surname. In this situation, choosing either Shepherd or Sterling would cause problems. He could only deflect. Well, think about it, right? Think it over carefully. A name is with a child for life, David said, not pressing the issue. He felt that, given Leo's personality, he would likely have the baby take the Shepherd name. At 7 in the evening, Riley arrived, having received the news. She bounded into the room, crouched by the bassinet, and echoed her brother's earlier sentiment with a laugh. Leo, why is your baby so ugly? You and Lily aren't ugly. She is not. She's not ugly at all. Leo and Lily retorted in unison. Hee, just kidding. Riley smiled nonchalantly. Of course I know newborns all look like that. Where's your sister? Leo asked, noticing that Sophie hadn't come with her. Riley gently touched the baby's smooth skin, her attention elsewhere. Oh, Sophie said she had something to do today. She had to go to a friend's house. The room felt strangely silent for a few seconds. It was Leo who broke the awkward atmosphere. Do you need to use the restroom? Shall I call a nurse? No need, Lily said, shaking her head faintly. We'll think about the baby's name when we get home, Leo said, taking Lily's slightly cool hand. You need to rest and recover now. After your confinement month, I'll take you home. Okay, Lily replied obediently. After the baby was born, Leo barely left the house. Ever since Lily came home from the hospital to recover, he was by her and the baby's side almost constantly. A bigger reason was that Lily didn't want to hire a postpartum doula to intrude on her life with Leo, nor did she want to bother Sharon every day. So, the day she was discharged, she immediately took a year off from school, planning to care for the baby herself. Leo was now in a state of semi-retirement, spending every day at home with Lily. It was during this time that he decided on the baby's name. She would take his surname, Mia Shepherd. He had told David the name the night before. The old man, after hearing it, calmly stated that he respected Leo's decision, then immediately updated his social media with a flood of adorable baby photos. When Connor Sterling learned the baby's name, he too respected Leo's choice. He hadn't dared to hope for much anyway. Besides, since the accident, Leo's attitude toward him had softened considerably. He no longer met him with the same cold sarcasm. Connor certainly wasn't going to jeopardize that over something so minor. On a sunny Sunday afternoon, the temperature was perfect. Leo and Lily sat on the swing set in the yard, quietly watching the baby sleeping soundly in Lily's arms. Since birth, the little one spent most of her time sleeping in her mother's embrace, except when she was nursing. The occasional soft coo or gentle twitch of her tiny foot was enough to make both of them smile like doting ants. I'm starting to think I was just the delivery guy, Leo said, his arm around Lily's shoulders as he gazed at the baby in her lap. Mia's eyes and nose don't look a thing like me. She even inherited your sweet, dopey personality. The phrase delivery guy made Lily blush, but she still argued earnestly, I'm not dopey. Leo chuckled. It's better she doesn't look like me. Her mom is so beautiful. If she looked like her dad, that would be a disaster. After all, Daddy's not as pretty as Mommy. I think her eyes look like yours, Lily said, blinking. They continued to chat back and forth about the baby. This was perhaps the most real and blissful moment for any young couple with a newborn. Just then, the phone in Leo's pocket vibrated. He removed his arm from Lily's shoulder and discreetly opened his messages. It was from Eleanor. My investor, get your ass to the hospital. Eleanor's in surgery. He didn't need to guess. It was a message from either Catherine or Harrison. But Leo didn't care. He immediately called Sharon. As the phone rang, he rubbed his nose and said to Lily, something came up at the company. I have to go in. Is it okay if I have our mom come over to stay with you? Lily hummed, holding the baby. Her mood was noticeably lower than a moment ago. At the same time, Sharon picked up. What's up? I'm at the supermarket buying things for the baby. How are Lily and Mia? They're both great. Right here next to me, Leo said calmly. Something came up at work that I need to handle. Could you come over and keep Lily and Mia company? The line was silent for a few seconds. Leo could faintly hear Sharon mutter, "You punk," before she agreed. "All right, tell Lily I'm on my way." "Our mom is on her way," Leo said, kissing Lily's cheek. "I'll be back as soon as I'm done." Lily just nodded lightly, silently watching him leave. It wasn't until Leo was about to enter the villa's living room that she finally called out, "You'll come back, won't you? Please." Leo turned to look at her on the swing. Her sweet, beautiful face was filled with reluctance and sorrow. Cradling the baby in her arms, she looked so heart-wrenchingly hopeful that Leo's heart melted. But he had to get to the hospital. He ran back, crouched in front of her, and looked up in her sad face. "I'll definitely be back," he cooed. "You be good, okay? When the baby gets a little older, we'll try again and give her a little sister or brother." "Okay," Lily whispered, her face turning red. Leo gave her one more kiss on the cheek before rushing to the garage. After the faint sound of the engine faded away, Lily looked down at the baby in her arms and pouted, instructing her seriously, "Daddy is such a liar. Baby, don't you ever be a liar like Daddy, okay? Or Mommy will be very sad." Since it was a Sunday, the roads were packed. By the time Leo reached the hospital, it was nearly 3 in the afternoon. When he arrived at the delivery room, only Catherine Hayes was there, sitting by the bed with red-rimmed eyes, comforting a weak-looking Eleanor. A few suited bodyguards stood by. A bodyguard whispered something in Catherine's ear, and she turned to glare at Leo, her voice laced with fury. "You punk, what took you so long?" Leo said helplessly, "Sorry, there was traffic." "Traffic, you couldn't." Catherine was about to unleash her frustration when Eleanor grabbed her wrist and shook her head gently. "Mom, you and the old man go see the babies. I want to talk to Leo alone." The 2 babies had been taken to the neonatal incubator right after birth, and Harrison had just left to see them. "Fine. Call me if you need anything." Catherine nodded, shot another venomous glare at the scoundrel behind her, and left with the bodyguards. The delivery room fell silent. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Get over here," Eleanor said, patting the spot on the bed next to her when she saw Leo standing there like an idiot. "You don't look like you just gave birth at all," Leo muttered under his breath as he came and sat beside her. Eleanor just grinned at him. "Hee, so what do you think, Leo? Aren't I incredible?" "Huh, what?" Leo didn't follow. "2 of them," Eleanor said proudly. "I gave you 2 kids and no C-section, okay? Damn, aren't you going to praise me for that? I'm about to play the woman card here." "Incredible, absolutely incredible," Leo said, clapping, like a cow strapped to a rocket. "You're out of this world." "Now that's more like the bastard I know," Eleanor said with a satisfied smile, pinching his cheek. "Don't you ever give me that long-suffering look again. You hear me? I don't like it." "Damn." Leo felt a surge of frustration, then sighed helplessly. "How did this turn into me giving birth to 2 kids for you? Didn't you?" Eleanor blinked. "I couldn't have done it without your help, could I?" "Leo." In the infant monitoring room, Harrison Hayes stared grimly at the 2 tiny, pink babies in the incubator, his heart a tangled mess of emotions. When one of the little ones shifted or lifted a hand, an involuntary smile would spread across his face. It was in that moment that Harrison belatedly realized he was their grandfather, that these babies carried his blood. "That kid is here," Catherine said, entering the room and lowering her voice. "What are you thinking now?" Harrison seemed not to hear his wife. He stared at the babies for a long time before saying with a stern expression, "They're getting married." "Will he agree?" Catherine said, troubled. "You know what that kid is like. He's a philanderer with a bunch of other women. How could he possibly marry Eleanor in good faith? He'll agree whether he likes it or not." Harrison's gaze hardened, his expression turning grim. "As soon as Eleanor has recovered, they're getting the license." Harrison was deeply dissatisfied with the idea of the womanizing Leo as his son-in-law, especially after he'd secretly gotten his daughter pregnant. That had dropped his opinion of Leo to nearly 0. But now the deed was done, and his daughter had borne Leo's children. No matter how much Harrison disliked him, he had to make them a legitimate married couple. Otherwise, if Leo's messy affairs were exposed, the shame wouldn't be his alone. Their entire corporate empire could be affected. Billionaire's daughter willingly becomes mistress, bears child for famous director. Just thinking of a sensational headline filled Harrison with a humiliating rage. Having them legally marry was the only way. The only thing about Leo that satisfied Harrison was his biological father, Connor Sterling. At least they had been close friends for over a decade. Becoming in-laws would be a good thing, in a way. What a mess. Catherine sighed helplessly, not knowing what else to do. The babies were perfectly healthy. After a short observation period in the incubator, they were placed in a clean bassinet and wheeled into the delivery room by a nurse. Eleanor immediately sat up in bed, tilting her head to look at the two babies in the bassinet, her face a mask of disgust. Why are my babies so ugly? Did they give me the wrong ones? Silly girl, all newborns look like that, Catherine chided. Are you really complaining about your own kids? You were even uglier than them when you were born. Leo wanted to go see the babies too, but he noticed Harrison staring intently at him. Sir, any instructions? Leo asked with a straight face. To say he wasn't nervous would be a lie. He had gotten the man's precious daughter pregnant before marriage. He was lucky Harrison hadn't already dragged him to the Willamette River to feed the fish. Get your biological father over here, Harrison commanded. I need to have a serious talk with him about his son's behavior. Harrison had Connor's contact information, but after his own flesh and blood had been taken advantage of by Connor's son, who had even given him a pair of fraternal twins, Harrison couldn't bring himself to make the call. It would feel too much like he was congratulating him. All right, Leo didn't refuse. He opened his phone's contact list, searched for a moment, and realized he didn't have Connor's number, only his birth mother, Vivian's. Hello, Leo? Why are you calling me? Vivian sounded exceptionally happy on the other end of the line, her voice several octaves higher. This was the first time Leo had ever called her voluntarily. Mom, can you come to the hospital? Leo said, blushing as the word left his lips. Of course. I'll drive over right away. Is it OHSU again? Vivian's voice climbed even higher. Is Lily there for a checkup? Is something wrong? Well, it's not OHSU. Leo glanced at the fruit basket on Eleanor's bedside table. It's Portland General Hospital. Are you sick? Vivian's voice suddenly grew tense. What happened? Leo decided to just be direct. Eleanor gave birth. A boy and a girl. They're mine. Mister. Hayes wants to talk to you guys. Even Leo had to call on his biological parents to bail him out of this one. WH. Vivian let out a shocked gasp. Before she could finish, the phone was snatched away by Connor. All right, your mother and I are on our way. Give my regards to Mr. Hayes. After the call ended, Harrison's expression was thunderous. Catherine looked at Leo with equal gravity and warned. You punk. I don't want to dig into your messy affairs, but since our Eleanor has had your children, you have to take responsibility. I will, of course, Leo replied without hesitation. If he had any intention of running away, he wouldn't be standing here alone in front of them now. Catherine just snorted. Harrison, meanwhile, had left the room at some point. Just then, a nurse walked in with a form. Who is the family member of Eleanor Hayes? I need a signature. I'll sign. Seeing Catherine unmoving and glaring at him, Leo, fearing he would displease his formidable mother-in-law, quickly took the form and scrawled his name. I also need to see an ID, the nurse added. Leo patted his pockets and realized he didn't have his wallet. He opened his phone. Is a digital version okay? I don't have it on me. That's fine. The nurse nodded, took a photo of the ID on his phone, and then aimed the phone's camera at Leo. Now, for facial recognition. Please open your mouth, then shake your head. Okay, thank you for your cooperation. After completing this series of operations, the nurse didn't leave. Instead, she handed the form Leo had signed to Catherine and then hurried out. Catherine took the form and smiled knowingly. Leo was still wondering why someone with Eleanor's family resources would need to go through such procedures at a hospital when several more people entered the room, one of them holding a camera. You're Eleanor Hayes' family member, right? The woman with the camera asked Leo. We need you to take a photo with Ms. Hayes to commemorate the 168th birth at our hospital. The moment Leo sat down next to Eleanor, he sensed something was wrong. With the Hayes family's influence in Portland, why would they participate in something so trivial? Eleanor, however, wrapped her arm around Leo's and grinned at the camera, flashing a peace sign. Make sure you get my good side. After taking the photo, the woman and her team left just as quickly. What was that all about? Leo muttered, scratching his head in confusion. A few minutes later, Harrison walked back into the room, a triumphant look on his face. He tossed 2 red booklets in front of Leo and Eleanor. From now on, you two are husband and wife. These are your marriage certificates. We'll arrange a wedding banquet in a few days. P.S. Taking tomorrow off. Maya and Chloe were inseparable, the kind of best friends who shared everything. Maya hadn't been around lately, and Carla, who had watched Maya grow up, knew that girl had a wilder streak than her own daughter. These days, most guys seem to prefer flashy girls. And since the 3 of them had been living together, Carla suspected that maybe Leo hadn't been able to control himself and had let the fox into the henhouse, leaving Chloe in this impossible situation, stewing in her own misery. No, it's not that, Chloe mumbled awkwardly. Truthfully, she had played a significant role in orchestrating the bizarre relationship they now shared. Since it wasn't Maya, Carla couldn't figure out the reason. She changed her line of questioning. Did Leo fall out of love with you? No, Chloe shook her head. Even though what he did was unforgivable, she could feel that he still loved her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have remembered so much about her even with amnesia. Then why are you crying so hard? Carla was bewildered. Were all young couples this dramatic these days? Chloe's words came out between sobs. Mom, I might not be able to marry Leo. What? Why not? Carla blinked, baffled. Chloe just hung her head and kept wiping away tears. Carla thought for a moment. She figured it must be a complication with his work, or perhaps his two families were just too much to deal with. With that in mind, she asked seriously, Chloe, tell me, do you still love Leo? Chloe managed, her voice choked with tears. And is he good to you? Does he care about you? Does he still love you? Carla asked what she considered to be the most critical questions. Chloe nodded without hesitation. On all 3 points, both throughout their relationship, and even now, Leo had never failed. What made her waver even more was that, even after knowing her parents were aware of what he'd done, Leo still had the guts to come find her. That proved he absolutely still cared. Unfortunately, Leo offered that same devotion and care to other women as well. Well, there you have it, Carla said, relieved, and smiled nonchalantly. Your father and I still don't know what a marriage certificate looks like, and you turn out just fine. As long as he has you in his heart, and you have him in yours, that's all that matters, right? Is it really worth crying so hard over? Carla continued. Is it because Leo's biological parents are a bit overbearing? Rich people are all like that. If it's about money, your father and I have some savings. Even if you marry into that family, we can make sure you do it with your head held high. You can just come back and visit us whenever you have time. Carla had heard about Leo's birth parents from her daughter. For people of that status, getting a marriage license was probably more complicated than for ordinary people. But even if his birth parents were overbearing, Carla wasn't worried they would bully Chloe. She still believed Leo would protect her daughter. While Mom Chloe completely lost control of her tears, collapsing into Carla's arms and sobbing. Just then, the faint sound of the doorbell came from outside. That must be Leo, Carla said with a smile, wiping her daughter's tears. All right, stop crying. You two have a good talk. Your father and I have to go out this afternoon. Well, you're here. At the same time, Don Miller opened the door. He looked at Leo with a disgruntled expression, hesitated for a moment, then nodded toward the inside. Shoes off first. Though he didn't know why the young couple was fighting, Don didn't care about the details. He was a devoted girl dad, so naturally, he blamed Leo for everything. But the old man also really liked his de facto son-in-law and didn't want to seem too angry, leaving him in a difficult position. Leo, unaware that this was all based on Chloe's lie, found Don's current demeanor exceptionally cold. He was half afraid Don would stab him while he was changing his shoes. Mr. Miller, long time no see. But since he was already here, Leo had no choice but to greet him while bending down to change his shoes. It has been a while, Don nodded, looking Leo up and down. How's your recovery? Your head clear now? Leo finished changing his shoes and forced a smile. It's been fine for a while now. Good. Don nodded thoughtfully, then took out a pack of cigarettes and offered one to Leo. Want one? No thanks, sir. I quit a while ago. Leo waved his hand. He appeared calm, but his mind was racing. The calmer Don seemed, the more Leo worried he was planning something big. Oh, Leo, you're here. Carla came out of the bedroom with a smile. Beside her was Chloe, her face tear-stained, glaring at him. Leo, don't you have something to say to my parents? Chloe challenged him, her voice full of spite. At the same time, her heart was pounding. She wanted to see his resolve. Damn it, screw it all. Leo gritted his teeth and said in a rush, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, I'm so sorry. I really love Chloe, but... Shut up. Just as Leo was about to let it all out, Chloe quickly cut him off. She raised a delicate fist threateningly. You have no shame, but I do. Say one more word, and I'll strangle you. Leo looked blankly from his proud, defiant little girlfriend to the smiling couple, and it instantly dawned on him. Chloe hadn't told them what he'd done. And so, his nervous, confused expression slowly melted away, replaced by one of unexpected relief. If you love her, then treat my daughter well, Don said irritably. Otherwise, every time you two fight, her mother and I have to worry ourselves sick. It's okay for a young couple to argue now and then, but you can't fight this fiercely every time, Carla added, also trying to smooth things over. Leo, I know Chloe can be stubborn. I hope you be the bigger person and give in her more often. Yes, I will, Mrs. Miller. Leo quickly nodded in agreement, then shot a knowing smile at Chloe. Chloe, who had been relieved that Leo had almost spilled the beans, caught his meaningful gaze. Realizing he had figured out what she'd done, she was instantly mortified and shot back an arrogant glare. What are you looking at? Part 2. Mandatory separators.